safety of the vessel and the protection of our natural resources. Any operator who fails to comply with these regulations are subject to legal action. Let me be clear. The protection of our marine resources is non-negotiable, and we are sending a clear and resolute message that the Bahamas is not a place where people can raid our seas. Any foreign entity that seeks to exploit our waters will be held accountable, just as our Bahamian fishermen would be held accountable in any other foreign jurisdiction. To our law-abiding local fishermen, we hear you, we stand with you, and we will continue to act on your behalf. To those who believe that they can operate outside the law, please take this as a warning. We will use every tool at our disposal, from strategic operations to utilizing technological advancements, in order to ensure that our marine resources are protected today and for future generations. We extend our deepest gratitude to all of the agencies involved in Operation Red Dawn, as well as to the Bahamian public, whose vigilance and commitment to protecting our waters remains an invaluable asset. Thank you, and rest assured that we will never waver in our duty to defend and preserve our national heritage.
I'm Carissa Williamson, and this has been Your Government in Action, a proud presentation of Bahamas Information Services. Join us on Tuesday evenings, where we bring you highlights, coverage, and information as we continue to do what we do best, linking people and government.
At Rusty Bethel Drive, I'm Paiswell Forbes. This is ZNS.
It's What's Trending with Jimenita Swain and the Bahama Beauty and the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas. From Studio A. It all starts right now.
Hello and welcome everyone. You're tuned in to the ultimate destination for all things lifestyle, entertainment, and everything in between. I'm Jimenita Swain and you're watching What's Trending, the show where we bring you the latest trends, hottest news, and insider tips on living your best life. Whether you're here for fashion, food, fitness, or the latest buzz from social media, we've got you covered. Let's dive in. Prayers continue for ailing Pope Francis. In fact, thousands have gathered in St. Peter's Square praying for the pontiff. Those prayers expressing sorrow for his suffering, hope for his recovery, and gratitude for efforts to steer the Catholic Church in new directions. Despite being in a critical condition in hospital with pneumonia and mild kidney failure, Pope Francis has carried out work duties, including approving individuals for canonization. After 11 days in hospital, the 88-year-old Francis is showing slight improvements in his condition. Well, this is not something you see every day, but some drug mules are getting more clever. One Colombian national was recently arrested for trying to smuggle drugs under his toupee. He was arrested while boarding a flight from Cartagena to Amsterdam. The weight contained 19 cocaine capsules, a shipment valued at more than $12,000. Authorities say the suspect was arrested and faces crimes of trafficking, manufacturing, and carrying narcotic substances. and today celebrates a sweet treat I think we all love. It's National Chocolate-Covered Nut Day that recognizes the delicious and crunchy snack drizzled, covered, dunked, or smothered in chocolate. The possibilities are endless with so many different types of nuts and chocolate combinations. Both chocolates and nuts can be good for you. Dark chocolate possesses a substantial amount of antioxidants, while the nuts contain essential fatty acids and linolenic acids. Get this, the first chocolate-covered peanut candy was Goobers, originally sold in 1925, and one of the more recognized chocolate-covered nuts are the M&Ms. As for what's coming up in today's show, learn more about obesity and its impact in the Bahamas and getting you on the road to a healthier life. That and so much more after the break. Stay with us.
Good to glow, keeping you in the know, keeping you in the know. God, it's good enough to eat, then it's good to grow. It's good enough to eat, then it's good to grow.
In kitchens across the Bahamas, the fiery kick of goat peppers is a familiar taste. But for Chantel Ferguson, it's the heart of a growing business. Sourcing these vibrant peppers from local farmers, she crafts rich, flavorful spices and sauces that bring the essence of the islands to every dish.
Kind of like I stumbled across dealing with the goat pepper. Basically, one day I made some sauce, and I sent them to my brother, gave him a little sauce that I make that I normally, like we all have a way of preserving our peppers. So I just sent a little bit of it with him, and he called me back, he was like, hey, where you get that sauce from? He's like, that bad. He's like, what you talking about? That's just a little something that I do just to preserve the peppers so they don't go bad. He said, you need to mark that.
What started as a passion for bold flavors has now turned into a brand that's catching the attention of quite a number of Bahamians. With every bottle and jar, Ferguson isn't just selling heat. She's bottling the essence of Bahamian tradition, one pepper at a time.
A lot of people ask me, well, why goat pepper? I love my country, love being a Bahamian, and I just feel like we're losing too much of ourselves, and like because goat pepper is something that's ours. Since I got started in the business, I understand also that goat pepper is gradually becoming extinct, and I would want to keep something that's ours for as long as I possibly can.
And her products aren't just regular sauces and powders. Ferguson continues to push the limits by adding peppers in unlikely places.
So my customer favorites are basically like the candies. What I did, I took the traditional Bahamian Benny peanut and coconut cake and added a little gourmet twist on it with goat pepper. And then also the lime and pepper seasoning. That's everything you basically need in one package for your seafood. But basically in our household, we use it on everything from seafood to chicken. We use it on vegetables. We use it on fruits. So yeah, and then also the hot sauces. Those are basically the favorites.
So if you're interested in trying any of Ferguson's products, head on over to Facebook and Instagram for more details. Keeping you in the know with Good to Grow, I'm Leah Cooper.
For over half a century, we've been more than just an airline. We've been a bridge, connecting families, dreams, and memories across the islands and beyond. Behind every seat sold and every journey planned, there's a dedicated team committed to making air travel affordable and accessible to everyone. At Bahamas Air, we're not just building connections, we're building a safe and dependable airline where quality service is paramount and an excellent travel experience is our priority. Wherever you're going, we're here to take you there with care, with heart, and with the promise of unforgettable journeys. We are family, and just like family, we're committed to taking care of our own. Your Bahamas Air is our Bahamas Air, because here at Bahamas Air, we don't just fly here, we live here.
Obesity is a significant public health concern in the Bahamas, with recent data indicating that nearly half of the adult population is affected. A report by the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization revealed that over 45% of Bahamian adults are classified as obese, a rate approximately 3 times higher than the global average of 15.8%. In studio to discuss the problem and shed light on possible solutions is former Minister of Health and cardiologist Dr. Dwayne Sands. Welcome to What's Trending, Dr. Sands.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great having you here. So the state of obesity is certainly a growing concern. How would you respond to the issue and the challenges we face in the country?
Unfortunately, we are the poster child, the population I'm talking about, for overweight and obesity, not just in Latin America and the Caribbean, but unfortunately almost in the world. We're among the heaviest, fluffiest people in the world, okay? Now, Bahamians don't like to claim that because, you know, well, I ain't big, you know, I just big bone, you know?
Just a little, just slight, but it's more than slight.
But I still look good.
You got to be healthy.
And that is the challenge, that there are problems associated with being overweight or obese. And we are paying a horrible price in this country, horrible price.
So give us some examples of what that price tag looks like.
Well, you see a tremendous amount of diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease. Some cancers are associated with obesity, sleep apnea. There's a number of problems specifically due to overweight and obesity, but it also complicates the care of many other problems. Arthritis, spine disease, and so on and so forth.
So what do you think are the main contributing factors of this obesity problem we have in the country?
I think we have fundamentally a nutrition problem. Okay. And, you know, a belly full is not necessarily healthy. And so when you are forced to eat whatever's there, and you can only afford some noodles and some hot dog or things that are carbohydrate laden, or you have a hankering for something sweet, it piles up. And a lot of people think that this is about choice. After a while, your brain gets reset, your pancreas gets reset, your stomach gets reset, your intestine gets reset, and it just keeps going and going and going. And there are very few people who can control their weight. It is something that once the brain is reset, you're going to just keep going and going and going.
So with such a, I guess, global problem that's having a major impact on our healthcare system here, what do we need to be focusing on? What do we need to do?
So first of all, we got to claim the problem. And when you see that 80% of our women are overweight or obese, and 60% of our men, give or take, are overweight or obese, 52% of women are obese. And you mentioned in your introduction the international average is 1/3 of that number. So once you claim it, then we ought to have a national strategy that looks at how do we incorporate healthy lifestyles. That's diet and exercise. And with the busy life that we lead, we have to be very intentional about this. And given the fact that when you go in the food store, everything seems to be outrageously expensive.
Definitely out of reach for many.
Especially when you're talking about the healthy fruits, vegetables. Many of us are allergic to exercise. And
that's crazy, but it's true.
You know, I will get hot, I don't get sweaty. Too dark, too dangerous, people just drive bad on the road. All of these things are true, but we certainly need as a country to incorporate healthy lifestyles. Failing that, then we have to medicate or operate ourselves out of this problem. And I mention the word medication because they're now effective medical tools, albeit very expensive. So you may have heard of drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy and so on and so forth that work, but $600, $700 a month and up.
That's a big pill, a big price.
That's a big price, even though in the long run it will save money. You know, we had the unfortunate necessity to intervene on a young person this weekend with a catastrophic complication of high blood pressure. And a one-day stay in hospital was $90,000.
Wow.
One day. Okay? And so when you understand the price that people are paying, whether in stroke, heart attack, heart failure, etc., from overweight, obesity, and the complications thereof, this is a serious conversation that we have to be having.
You mentioned Ozempic, and I know a lot of people are interested in Ozempic and getting on it and the benefits of it, but also there are side effects of it as well. So how do we balance that out? I mean, we want people to do it the, I would say, old-fashioned way in terms of exercising, and like you say, exercise and diet, but some people want the shortcut way. While it works, there are also some drawbacks to it. What do you say to those persons who are considering or moving towards that direction to bring some kind of balance to it?
Put it like this. As a country, we will not be able to afford the complications of the lifestyle choices that we have made. And quite frankly, efforts to control your weight by controlling your diet because of the reset of the brain, not successful in more than 90 to 95% of people. And so we are going to have to invest, and I don't have any stock in any of these companies, okay? They have been shown to reduce the risk of heart disease, kidney failure, etc. And the side effect profile that people talk about, and there are some significant side effects, but they are a joke compared to the side effects of overweight and obesity. And you know, while every single therapy that exists out there has some problems, right now as a country, because we are so far ahead of everybody else as far as the numbers of us that are overweight or obese, that we should be leading the charge in terms of adopting these things that actually work. And I would suggest that this becomes a public health provided therapy.
Now, February is also Heart Month, so how do we keep our heart healthy? You mentioned that as I guess, an effect as well due to obesity. So how do we focus on our heart a little bit better?
Well, it's the same formula. Eating right and exercising, having a healthy approach to life, picking your relationships well, getting enough rest, getting enough sleep, trying to avoid, you know, situations that are going to stress you out. All of these are the types of things that would help, because heart disease in the Bahamas is significant, and whether you're talking about coronary artery disease and heart attacks, or in particular now heart failure, in large part from high blood pressure and the impact of having that massive elevation of blood pressure and the heart having to beat against it. After a while, young people in their 30s and 40s, their heart just starts to wear out. And so we find ourselves right now seeing younger and younger and younger people who can barely walk across the room without huffing and puffing. And their heart, which ordinarily squeezes out 60 to 70% of the volume of the blood that's in it with each beat, 20%, 15%. And I've seen some people in their 20s. We see more people now going even towards devices to help the heart to work better. Some that have gone on to artificial hearts and heart transplants. And that's an increasing challenge in the Bahamas. I just spoke to somebody yesterday who is unfortunately on the road towards a heart transplant.
So much to focus on, but we know that February is also the month of love, and so some people may question, can we actually be injured or die from a broken heart? You mentioned in terms of choosing the right relationships a few minutes ago, you don't want to be stressed out, but is that a thing as a cardiologist?
You know, unfortunately it is.
Really?
And, you know, they say you ain't live until someone break your heart, eh?
Unfortunately.
But and most times you survive, although you're pretty badly scarred. But sadly, the shock, the intense emotional overload can actually be fatal in some instances.
No, that's scary to think about.
It is a testament to how deeply we love and how deeply we feel. And sometimes the grief can be so overwhelming that people actually don't survive. It's a real phenomenon.
So overall, if you had to sum up for our viewers this whole issue or challenge that we've been having with obesity, heart disease, what would be your key message for them to keep in their mind as they age, as they move forward? Because like you say, if you're seeing younger patients that are dealing with heart disease issues, obesity, whatever it is, what is that message you want to drive home to them that they need to keep in mind to be healthy and to avoid, if possible, some of these very serious issues?
I think it's very important for us to be honest with ourselves. Close the door, get naked, stand in front of the mirror and look, okay? And, you know, we have a cultural thing about being solid. And I'm not trying to get into fat shaming at all. But you should get on the scale, know your numbers. When your body mass index hits 25, you are overweight. When your body mass index hits 30, you are obese. Okay? And you could pretty it up all you want. That comes with health challenges. And those health challenges will kill you. This ain't no game. All right? Now, you don't have to be skinny to be healthy. You don't even have to be normal weight to be healthy. But the more weight you put on, the more likely you are to develop the complications that destroy lives. And the last 10 years of the lives of most Bahamians, and this is data from our STEP survey, is spent in ill health. So you may survive longer, but you're not enjoying it.
And these are things that you can do to improve the quality of your life.
Amen.
In the late ages.
Amen. Take it very seriously.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Sands. Definitely good information that we all can benefit from, and hopefully our viewers take it to heart and do what they need to do to make adjustments where necessary.
Thank you for the invitation.
Appreciate it. Well, stay with us. There's so much more after the break.
Hi, I'm Brent Burrows, Vice President of Retail and Sales at CBS Bahamas and the CBS Pro Store. Not only do we guarantee the best prices on all your favorite building materials, but we're proud to offer the best delivery program in all of Nassau. Whether you buy one box of screws or a truckload of plywood, island-wide delivery is just $5. And for our Family Island customers, we're proud to offer complimentary drop-off to the mailboat of your choice. Visit us today at the CBS Pro Store on Robinson Road and check out our website to set up your next delivery.
Your best year yet. Education is the key to success, and the University of the West Indies Global Campus Bahamas is your partner in success. Take a course that increases your value in a matter of weeks, or get that degree you've been dreaming of with convenient online learning. Visit us at global.uwi.edu/Bahamas, call 323-6593, or WhatsApp 456-6687 today.
Lessons gonna find me.
What? You don't know who TDC is? Tourism Development Corporation? You mean the Ministry of Tourism? No, that ain't the same thing, but the Tourism Development Corporation helps develop and grow Bahamian businesses in the tourism industry. You heard what they say, boy? Oh, yeah. Develop and grow. You don't know what all the things they do? What does do?
Hey, check the website, boy. Start your journey to ownership of our #1 industry today. Log on to tdcbahamas.com.
As we promote healthy lifestyles, here's a look at exercises and how you can get on the road to improved health. Exercise has a wide range of benefits for both physical and mental health. Some of the key advantages are that it helps to improve heart health by reducing the risk of heart disease. It lowers blood pressure and improves circulation. It also aids in weight management by helping to burn calories and maintain a healthy weight. Exercise can also assist in strengthening muscles and bones, boost immunity by enhancing the immune system and help fight off illnesses. Additionally, it improves flexibility and balance and reduces the risk of falls and injuries, especially as you age. Do you know that exercise can also enhance lung function and increase oxygen capacity and endurance? Also, it can reduce the risk of chronic diseases, lowers the chance of developing diabetes, stroke, and some cancers. Listen up for those individuals under stress and anxiety. Exercise releases the feel-good hormones that improve the mood and reduces the chance of developing some cancers. So if you are having issues sleeping, it can also help regulate sleep patterns and combat insomnia. So why not take time out of your busy schedule and find the time for a little exercise? It goes a long way to improve your health. It's time to get out there and get moving. We'll have more after the break. Stay with us.
Bahamas Driving Group of Companies, we have been in Exoma now for the past 4 years, carrying out our paving program. A part of our company's philosophy is to do some work to international standards. So when you look at our paving division, we have a state-of-the-art lab to do all of our testing in-house, as well as a state-of-the-art asphalt plant with a trained technician carrying out the work on that site. The overarching goal of our company is to produce the work that we're doing in the entire Bahamas to international standards. We also make a difference by the training of our staff. We have a very intensive training program going on to where we are teaching young men how to learn the art of striping. Being a young man myself, I've made mistakes in the past. I was given a second chance to better my life, and it's only fitting that we pass it along. What's important for us is giving them a second chance for them to get a skill and a career that could take them further in life.
The internet isn't just for surfing. There's a sea of shoppers buying online, and you can connect with them on Tingsy. Tingsy is the SBDC's online storefront built for Bahamians. Take your business to the next level by selling to customers online, both at home and around the world. People want Bahamian things, and if you got things to sell, sell on Tingsy. Find out how you can connect with a sea of buyers by visiting tingsybahamas.com.
Here at Immigration Care Service, you can trust us, especially if you have experienced issues or problems with the U.S. immigration at the borders. We'll do our best to provide options and solutions to immigration roadblocks, so travelers can continue visiting the U.S. and residents can continue living their lives in the U.S. without worries. The best part? Our services are affordable and accessible. Take the mystery, confusion, and fear out of your immigration concerns. Contact Immigration Care Service today.
Today is Let's All Eat Right Day, but you might be wondering what's the story behind this special day and why is it so important? It was created in honor of Dr. John T. Langley, a pioneer in nutrition who believed that healthy eating is the foundation of a long and vibrant life. Back in the early 1900s, Dr. Langley worked tirelessly to teach people how vital it is to nourish their bodies with whole, nutrient-packed foods. Additionally, today also marks the birthday of Adele Davis, a famous nutritionist, author, and game changer in the nutrition movement throughout the 1900s. You've probably heard it said, eat breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and dinner like a pauper. Well, this wise adage can be credited to Davis herself. So why is Let's All Eat Right Day important? In today's world, with processed foods and fast meals on the rise, it's easy to forget the power of simple, wholesome ingredients. Eating right isn't just about fueling our bodies, it's about making choices that benefit our long-term health, boost our energy, and help prevent chronic diseases. By celebrating today, we honor Dr. Langley's and Davis's message. It's a reminder to pay attention to what goes on our plate. Whole grains, colorful vegetables, fruits, and lean proteins, they all work together to keep us feeling our best. And here's the best part. Eating right can be fun. You don't have to sacrifice flavor for health. Experiment with new recipes, try new flavors, and find joy in foods that fuel you. So today, celebrate by making a healthy choice, whether it's adding more greens, trying a new dish, or just committing to a balanced meal. It's all about taking small steps towards eating right. Let's all eat right, not just today, but every day for a healthier, happier future. You're watching What's Trending. Stay with us.
Hey, honey. You got no message for me yet? Can I tell you why I get no money? At least not yet. I get my money. Managers. Oh, and I done upload it.
Hello, Miss Daisy. Your check is ready.
Thanks. I come for that little thing. You got it?
Money managers, responsible lenders for responsible people.
Diet-friendly special.
As for what's coming up in tomorrow's show, the Urban Renewal Program making waves in our community and seeking out Bahamian talent across the country. Well, that's all the time we have for today. A huge thank you to our incredible guests for sharing their insights and stories with us. As always, we'll be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. with more exciting guests, thought-provoking conversations, and a lot of laughs, only on the ZNS network. See you later.
At the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas, I'm Clint Watson, and this is ZNS.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. Sunwing Airlines gives a major boost to Grand Bahamas tourism sector. Also, local contractors positive about Grand Bahamas' growing potential. And later, an identity theft victim speaks out after a cousin marries a foreign national using her name.
The Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition starts now.
Good evening and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. I'm Raven Davis. Thank you so much for tuning in. Topping the news tonight, in a major boost for Grand Bahamas tourism sector, Sunwing Airlines welcomed several hundred passengers over the weekend. The Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation expressed optimism, highlighting strong air arrivals are already making a significant impact, and government is hopeful this increased traffic will translate into long-term benefits for the economy. Here's tonight's top story.
Sunwing is an important partner, and we're delighted with what we're seeing.
Good news for Grand Bahama as Sunwing Airlines brought in several hundred passengers over the weekend. This marks a significant milestone following last year's announcement that the Canadian airline would be ramping up its services to the island with additional flights from both Montreal and Toronto.
We started Sunwing about 2 years ago into Grand Bahama. It's doing exceedingly well, and we're doing 2 flights a week from Toronto and Montreal. And initially, Toronto was to be December to April, but the demand was so good that they determined that they would do it on a full year basis. And we expect the Montreal flight to even stay beyond April as well this year.
Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, the Honorable Chester Cooper, expressing his satisfaction with the results so far. He emphasized the strong numbers, noting that this is a clear sign of the growing demand and interest in Grand Bahama as a travel destination.
In January alone, we had about 1,500 passengers coming in to Grand Bahama. And last year we had about 11,000, which was almost 100% ahead of the 2023 arrivals on Sunwing. So this is a big deal for Grand Bahama.
DPM Cooper adds that the air arrivals further reinforce what he has been saying about Grand Bahama having a great product. He says the uptick in travel means more opportunities for local businesses.
We know that stopover visitors tend to spend somewhere in the region of $2,500 in Grand Bahama. $2,500 per passenger. So that's economic impact directly into the economy and the pockets of hotels and restaurants and vendors and hair braiders. And we hope that this trend is going to continue. But January is very strong. And this is great for our Canada market. We're growing the percentage of our guests coming out of Canada.
Passengers arriving on Sunwing flights have praised the island's relaxing atmosphere, adding that they're eager to soak in the sun.
Came to Bahamas for a holiday and get married. All right.
I'm hoping to find a lovely beach and lots of natural areas. Yeah. Hopefully some birds. Learn about the culture, learn about the people a little bit.
Expecting great people, beautiful weather, fun on the beach.
Okay.
Well, with the near completion of major projects like Doctors Hospital and Carnival Corporation's Celebration Key, many hope they will be the catalyst to Grand Bahama's economic renaissance to once again be dawned in the Magic City. Our Matthew Montemboro has more details in this report.
With ongoing projects like Carnival Corporation, Celebration Key, and Doctors Hospital, President of FDS Construction, Cameron Edgecombe, says the economic boom for Grand Bahama is inevitable.
You know, it's been slow in Grand Bahama, and you have a lot of construction workers that are in Nassau and Abaco that are just waiting for the boom for them to move back home. Well, I see the stride of the economic construction boost for Grand Bahama to come on stream basically at the end of the year.
Edgecombe adds there's more to come once the other projects on the island enter their respective beginning stages.
I know they were talking about the project of Royal Caribbean at renovating Xanadu properties. So they were talking about the airport being renovated, and that will bring other projects on stream. There was also a mention of the Six Sense project that was going to develop down at the Banana Bay area. I know they had cleared the property, and they were now very close to going into the construction phase, because once you see a property cleared and you see fence going up, then they should be going in the next phase.
Self-operated business owner of Lewis Roofing and Construction, Devlin Lewis, agrees, adding Grand Bahama is long overdue for a bounce back since Hurricane Dorian and COVID-19.
Here on right now, construction has been at a boom, and I hope it could get better along with these other projects that we have coming on stream.
Both construction experts say with the current progressing projects and more in the pipeline, Grand Bahama can expect a major boost by the end of 2025. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Matthew Martinborough.
News from Bimini, the Member of Parliament for West Grand Bahama, Kingsley Smith Jr., giving his take on the Hilton and Resorts World Bimini split. In a statement released by Resorts World, it reads, "We are embarking on an exciting new chapter as we transition back to being a fully independent Resorts World property, allowing us to craft a truly personalized and inspired hospitality experience." Smith says he does not believe that the two companies parting ways will have any impact on that northern island.
This split between Resorts World from the Hilton brand does not affect the initial investment and jobs in Bimini. Operation remain ongoing. The tourism numbers in Bimini continue to increase, and we expect it to further increase upon completion of the new airport terminal that is being built. As you are aware, Bimini as a destination is a brand in and of itself. So people are still coming and will continue to come. Resorts World continues to be an important corporate stakeholder on the island, and we look forward to them further deepening their investor confidence in the island's economy.
Well, some 10 years after her cousin used her identity to marry a foreign national, one Grand Bahama woman is publicly calling for help. As she breaks her silence, she shares how being a victim of identity theft is hindering her from moving forward. Shalia Roll has this ZNS Investigate story.
Imagine being legally married without knowing. Well, that was the case for 30-year-old Perdisha Russell, whose cousin used her name and information to marry a foreign national. And fast forward to 10 years later, she is still not able to get a divorce.
Perdisha Shanice Patrice Russell, and she was like, "Yes, ma'am, August 11, 1995. I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "Yes, ma'am, you've been married from 2015. Immediately, I was angry.
The police were then called and an investigation was started. While in the process, officers picked her up from work for questioning, and Russell was asked if she was familiar with anyone in the building. As she replied no, the officers pointed out the man that she was allegedly married to. After a heated argument, her alleged husband, who is a Haitian national, then confessed that it was her cousin who stole her identity so that he can acquire Bahamian citizenship for $3,000 to $4,000.
Perdisha, you my wife. I said, so I was like, "You got the name, right?" So I was like, "How many kids I have?" He stopped. I said, "No, I'm your wife. How many kids do we have? Because I have children." He couldn't tell me how many kids I have. He couldn't tell me my parents' name. He couldn't tell me my siblings. Nothing. During the investigation, they found out that she used an old voter's card, an old national insurance card, the yellow one. I can remember them showing me that.
On November 19th, 2018, the Bahamas Journal reported that Adalius Jacks was hauled before Magistrate Cara Turnquest DeVoe for making a false declaration of marriage, while in his possession was a marriage certificate bearing the name of Perdisha Russell and Adalius Jacks. Russell also adds that although the Haitian national was arrested, her cousin was not. Since then, she has been reaching out to the relevant authorities to be divorced. Police officials told her that a letter would be sent to the Registrar General's office, but to no avail.
See a letter, ain't nothing coming up for Perdisha Russell. I had my mommy check on it in Nassau because my mommy lives in Nassau. I had my aunt check on it in Nassau because they live in Nassau. And I called. I went to the police station over here asking how I could get some type of assistance to get this out of the system. And it's like nobody could help me, and I don't understand because I never got married.
The victim of identity theft says that this year she is hoping that the issue is rectified so that she can move on with her life and pursue a marriage of her own.
Relieved, because in the back of my mind now I can move forward. If it does happen, in the back of my mind I can move forward with my life. Because like I told you, for 6 years, even though I was silent, there hasn't been a day that gone by that I didn't think about it.
Now, Perdisha says that this has been nothing but a nightmare for her that is placing her life on hold. She's hoping that someone can finally give her the divorce to a marriage she never wanted or asked for. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Shalia Roll.
And still to come,
Waterkeepers Bahamas participating in a key international climate change conference. We will have details of that story and sports highlights when the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, returns.
There are some things that are undeniably Bahamian. A good count salad, junkanoo, the way we worship, the way we take care of one another, all undeniably Bahamian. And right in the midst of our iconic things, places, and people is Commonwealth Bank. Increasing access, sponsoring dreams, working alongside Bahamians to increase the quality of their lives for more than 60 years. Commonwealth Bank, nothing more than being Bahamian. Commonwealth Bank, leader in personal banking services.
Come on down and see what Dolly Madison has in store for you. Renovate and rejuvenate at Dolly Madison.
Dolly Madison.
Do It Center's two-day sale this Friday, February 28th and March 1st. 20% off store-wide, located in number 33 Gold Rock Complex, Grand Bahama Highway.
Use a bin to put it in.
Let's keep it clean.
Yeah. Put it in the trash, my guy. Not on the ground, not on the beach, not in the bush, not in the street. No, yeah. Just put it in the trash, my guy. Not on the ground, not on the beach, not in the bush, not on the streets. Just put it in the trash, my guy.
Bombastic side eye. Criminal offensive side eye.
Put it in the trash. Put it in the trash. That's it, that's it. Put it in the trash. Just put it in the trash. That's it, that's it. Just put it in the trash, my guy. Not on the ground, not on the beach, not in the bush, not in the street. Just put it in the trash, my guy. Yeah. Just put it in the trash, my guy.
Yeah. We just gotta keep Grand Bahama clean.
Good day, good evening, and good vibes to my Power Nation. I hope you guys are doing so good. You know you got it locked in with the one and only Angel M, baby.
What you doing in the sky, gal?
Listen to Power 104.5 FM.
You still listening to the show, gal?
Yes, Angel M still on.
Gal, bitch, a perfect. Yeah, trouble when she turn it. Need a service. We'll slide hot like a furnace. Hey, gal, what you doing to me? Doing to me. Oh, gal, what you doing to me? Doing to me.
Tune into Good Vibes with Angel M from 2 to 6 on Power 104.5 FM.
Your number one team in the North. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better.
Welcome back. A local organization says based on its examination, in 100 years, the sea level will rise up to 25 to 30 feet, covering the majority of islands. Tonight, Waterkeepers Alliance will meet in Miami for a one-day conclave that will focus on climate change and its impact to the Bahamas.
And I give this because this is what is happening to our islands. I've been documenting about 12 years ago a particular huge tree that was 25 feet from the seacoast, from the high tide. And now, after 10 years only, that tree is being inundated by the ocean surge on the beach, and the roots are now about 8 feet out of the water, and the water's gushing around it. So we must be very careful, because where are we going to go to when sea level rise makes it impossible for us to inhabit these islands? You know, many eons ago, they were underwater. These are all islands that have come up out of the ocean, and sometime in the future, they will go back under the ocean.
Chairman of Waterkeepers Bahamas, Joe Darville, says a range of topics will be discussed, and he is urging Bahamians to pay attention to what the realities could be.
What mountains we have in the Bahamas? And we got one little island high, Cat Island, and maybe Long Island, we got one there. About 75 or 80 feet high. But, you know, we have nowhere to go. And I have advised our children I said, you gotta learn how to build boats. That's why in all of our programs, we're teaching them how to swim, how to dive, and to examine what is happening to the coastal area, to coral reefs, etc. And so, we have a serious responsibility to prepare the younger generations for the future.
In other news, estate planning and the importance of crafting one was stressed by financial expert Kayleen Newton during a recent estate planning blueprint masterclass held at the Pelican Bay Resort. She says budgeting is not a financial plan and a will is not an estate plan.
Estate planning is about protection to ensure your wealth is distributed as per your wishes. Legal clarity reduces disputes and prevents costly probate procedures, meaning it's going on year after year after year. Healthcare control. And you would see tax efficiency, but remember, I also teach this globally. And so from a tax perspective, if you have any connection, and we have Bahamians who also have tax implications in the U.S., estate planning helps you minimize those taxes to preserve more for your beneficiaries.
Newton adds an estate plan is essentially who you are, what you own, what you owe, and what happens to you in the event of an emergency before and after death.
Another thing that gives more grief to individuals, even when emergencies happen, is trying to determine what medical preferences a person wants. If they get in a car accident, if they end up bedridden, if something happens to them. Because again, we don't want to have these conversations because we think it's morbid. No, it gives peace. Because when something happens to you, family have to deal with you, and they have to deal with the disruption and give you the best care they can. And if emotionally they cannot deal with it, this isn't personal, it's real.
And that's a look at stories making news. Sports is next, but first a check on your local weather forecast.
Tonight's weather forecast is brought to you by Royal Star Assurance.
'Cause it's so beautiful.
See news in the making? Call us at 352-9713 or 359-5167, or you can email us at zns3news@gmail.com.
Park and Shop's end of season sale is here. Get 25% off store-wide plus $5 and $10 racks, 50% off kids' cloths, and reduced blankets. Sale runs February 26th to March 1st. Come in and check them out.
BMES Warriors invite you to the Road to 60 Festival, Saturday, March 1st, 12 noon until on the school grounds. Bingo, games, food, dance, music, and so much more. See you there. The Road to 60 Festival, this Saturday, March 1st.
Get ready for the season with Third Dimension's Garden Prep Sale. Save 25% on all lawn and garden supplies from February 28th to March 1st. Visit them on Yellow Pine Street or call them at 352-6126 or 602-0935 for more details.
Let's keep it clean.
Put it in the trash, my guy. Not on the ground, not on the beach, not in the bush, not in the street. No, yeah. Just put it in the trash, my guy. Not on the ground, not on the beach, not in the bush, not on the streets. Just put it in the trash, my guy.
Bombastic side eye. Criminal offensive side eye.
Put it in the trash. Put it in the trash. That's it, that's it. Put it in the trash. Just put it in the trash. Put it in the trash. That's it. Just put it in the trash, my guy. Not on the ground, not on the beach, not in the bush, not in the street. Just put it in the trash, my guy. Yeah. Just put it in the trash, my guy.
Yeah. We just gotta keep Grand Bahama clean.
What's happening, ladies and gents? I'm Shane Stubbs, and welcome to sports. The dust has settled, and the Tabernacle Falcons are the 2025 Hugh Campbell Tournament champions. The Falcons rallied from an early 17-point deficit, eventually sealing the deal in overtime by a final score of 89-87. It was definitely what the kids call cinema nowadays, as it had all the drama you could imagine. Nonetheless, here's coach Kevin Clark on what he told the team early on.
Control what we can control. We can control not turning it over. We can control rebounding the ball. And as long as we did that, I know that we will get back in the game and we'll be all right. But we know we had all the odds against us. So we had to just keep going, keep fighting.
It was a total team effort, but it came down to the stellar play of three of their best players, Dylan Morris, Anthony Mizik, and Claudius Burrows.
Dylan is animal. Anthony is our channel, but Claudius, words can't even explain. We needed every basket he gave us.
He just made some impactful plays, those dunks. They were momentum swingers for us, and they really helped pick everybody else up and kept us in it.
Morris was a man on a mission, totaling a team-high 22 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 blocks en route to MVP honors. Mizik finished with 15 of his own, knocking down 4 3-pointers on the night, and Burrows was the big-time spark off the bench late in the game with his timely shooting, scoring 18 and grabbing 8 rebounds, capping off the big win.
Going into the locker room in the second half, our coach said that there's plenty more basketball to come. He said we still got to play. He said still go there and play harder, and we came out and we made the comeback. Him coming off the bench really helped us a lot. For him to score 18 points straight, and if it wasn't for him, we wasn't gonna win the game.
Now the Falcons will hope to keep the momentum going as they get ready for the best of the best showdown, March 26th to the 29th. Meanwhile, in the cycling world, the Grand Bahama Cycling Association is looking toward the future following the success of the Tour de Grand Bahama, and it's going to start with getting primary and high school students involved.
Right now, we're focusing on the youth, trying to build it in the schools, and I think that's where it's at. We're looking forward to have inter-school competitions. I want the public to look forward to a primary school cycling championships just before the summer break. It's actually going to be a tricycle competition, so we want to get them from early where they start competing.
And lastly in sports, scores from Week 3 of Grand Bahama Little League action. In 8U action, the Red Sox defeated the Lions 12-4. In 10U action, the Bahama Red Sox took down the Riviera and Associates Lions 9-2. And in 12U action, the FES Royals defanged the Tigers 4-2. And that's your check on sports, ladies and gents. I'm Shane Stubbs. Your Facebook friend of the day is up next.
For the best in premium lubricants for your vehicle, purchase Super Synthetic Motor Oils and Hydraulic Fluids, distributed by KMW Battery and Tires in Freeport, Grand Bahama.
For quality and food service, it's Express Food Mart. They have 4 locations just for your convenience: Vallejo Road, Ponce de Leon and Carl Road, 8 Mile Rock, and West End. They're open Monday to Saturday, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., and on Sundays, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. They're also open on holidays. That's excellence by Express.
Shape Your Crepe has so much to offer. From delicious, savory, and sweet crepes, coffee drinks and bubble teas, to rich, creamy milkshakes, and so much more. We are located on West Mall Drive, Freeport, Grand Bahama, and coming soon to Plaza del Sol, Prince Charles Drive, Nassau, Bahamas. Shape Your Crepe, handcrafted crepes and more. Call us at 68-SHAPE.
Your number one.
Are you ready? I'm ready.
I am ready.
I am ready. I am ready.
Ready or not, it's here. That's right, the biggest gospel show with me, Uncle T Baby Boy, on 8:10 a.m. That's right, interviews, greatest songs, praise and worship. It's going to be exciting. We're going to take the Bahamas to the world and bring the world to the Bahamas.
#1 team in the North. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better.
And that is going to do it for us here in the North. I'm Raven Davis. Thank you so much for tuning in. There's a live look at the Bahamas tonight. They're coming your way next.
This public service announcement has been brought to you by the Bahamas National Trust in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
For 60 years, we have been here, the voice of the environment. Here, speaking up and for your national parks, all across the islands of this nation. The places God visits for vacation, spanning over 2.5 million acres of land and sea. How delighted then he must be to see a sea of pink, as flamingos mingle and haven like jingles play where queen counts still sleep. And if you listen, you can hear it. The words of gossiping parrots awaiting the diction of the day. All 365 of them, that's every day and every year, 15,000 children share in the beauty of this playground. Our name is yours. And we have been yours for years unnoticed. Don't forget us. Support us. Your national parks. The defenders of your environment. Join us. Remember, our cause is yours. The first land and sea park in the world is yours. Heritage. Here it is. When was the last time you gasped at our scenery, gotten lost in the depth of our reefs, or even awed at the green of the leaves of our trees? Don't hesitate to donate and volunteer. Don't hesitate to care. We are here for you. The Bahamas National Trust, BNT. 3 letters that spell out simply, perfectly, and undoubtedly that we are yours.
I'll be coming for y'all again.
Are you ready for the hardest sports show on the market? It's called The Timeout. Sundays on the ZNS television network. In our first show, 4 decades of sports in the country.
At the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas, I'm Clint Watson, and this is ZNS.
ZNS News is brought to you by the new BTC. Fiber is here. Faster, stronger, more reliable. Together, we are unstoppable. Switch today.
Coming up in the Bahamas tonight, a mid-year checkup on the local economy as the Prime Minister presents a progress report on government revenue, expenditure, fiscal successes, and challenges. Also, a corrections officer finds himself on the wrong side of the law. Hear what the National Security Minister has to say about corruption within the ranks. And this year's hurricane names released to find out if your name makes the list. The Bahamas tonight. The National Report starts now. Good evening. evening, everyone, and welcome to the broadcast. We're at the halfway mark in the 2024-2025 fiscal year, and that means giving Bahamians a progress report on where things stand. And for that, Minister of Finance, Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis will deliver the mid-year budget communication in the House of Assembly tomorrow morning. This gives an administration the opportunity to highlight the decisions made during a budgetary cycle. Upgrades in national security, energy reform, family island development, education and labor were some of the primary accomplishments of the 2023-2024 budget, which the Prime Minister then touted as representative of his government's conscious decision to invest in the nation's future. Well, here's Economic Affairs Minister, Senator the Honorable Michael Alcides on what we can expect on Wednesday.
What the Prime Minister will do is go into more detail on the performance of the economy, the performance of the finances, and where we are at 6 months into this budget year. And as we move into the second half of the budget year, the Prime Minister will detail the initiatives that we are confident will enable us to achieve our budget targets. And that is our continuing focus on growing the economy, improving the revenue administration and containing the costs, and seeking new sources of revenue. So at this point, we are confident that we should still be able to achieve our targets that we set at the beginning of the budget year.
Well, tune into the parliamentary channel at 10 a.m. tomorrow for live coverage of the 2024-2025 mid-year budget communication in the House of Assembly. Well, from the economy, we turn our attention to crime. The Anti-Gang Corruption Task Force is investigating its first case under the anti-gang law passed last April and enacted that August. Part of a compendium of anti-crime bills, the legislation gives the Supreme Court the capacity to declare a group as a gang in order to prosecute its members. Anyone found guilty could face 25 years in prison and up to a fine of $100,000. However, if determined that a proven gang member took a life during gang-related activity, he or she faces life behind bars.
We are well on the way and hoping that very shortly we'll be able to put persons before the courts and deem them true gang leaders in our community and put them before the courts.
Meantime, the government's serving notice to those engaging in destructive practices against the environment. You will be sought after and held accountable. Corval Pyfram has the National Security Minister's announcement meant to right ship years of criminality.
The government is turning up the heat on those who commit crimes against the environment.
While our focus tends to be on crimes against the persons for obvious reasons, it is critically important that we take crimes against our environment more seriously.
National Security Minister Wayne Munro announcing Monday that a steering group with oversight powers has been established. He says for far too long, environmental crimes, activities such as illegal excavation, unauthorized coal burning, poaching, among many others, have gone unchecked.
This government being determined to enforce laws against environmental crime. We have created the Bahamas Wildlife Enforcement Network Steering Group that is headed by Commander Desiree Cornet of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. And this will lead the charge against violators who will now face serious consequences for their actions.
Though just announcing the creation of this body, Mr. Munro contends that already it has been hard at work and seeing some successes.
They have actively engaged in training, and they've actively assisted the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, the Ministry of the Environment and its forestry sections, and the Ministry of Works in enforcing excavation permits or the ability not to be excavating.
The Still Now Bahamas Wildlife Enforcement Network Steering Group, the minister says, will hopefully be regularized by legislation within this legislative year. Currently, the group, he says, is comprised of seconded members of the Royal Bahamas Defense and Police Forces and other agencies. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Corval Pfeiffer.
Or from the courts, a corrections officer charged with smuggling contraband into the prison. Senior Magistrate Shaka Seville yesterday arraigned 31-year-old Collins Rowe for possession of dangerous drugs with intent to supply and taking prohibited articles into a correctional facility. Prosecutors allege that last Thursday, February 20th, Rowe smuggled a phone, 2 chargers, and 2 pairs of headphones into the prison. When he was stopped for the contraband, fellow officers allegedly also found 14 ounces of marijuana with a street value of $1,400. National Security Minister, the Honorable Wayne Munro, commented on this latest incident of corruption.
The Bahamas Department of Correction and the correctional officers are no different from the Royal Bahamas Police Force, the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, or any other agencies. We recruit from the public. And so the same foibles that exist in the public may exist on the force. Each of the agencies use different methods in their recruitment exercise to seek to recruit only the best. But even recruiting only the best, you are recruiting human beings. And the measure of an organization, in my view, is not whether it has any members that stumble, that breaches the rules, but the measure of that institution is what it does when that happens.
Now, what happened in this case is that Collins Rowe was swiftly brought before the courts. He pleaded not guilty to smuggling contraband into the prison and was granted $6,000 bail. His trial set for June 4th. Coming up, wild weather in Eleuthero. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. There's more news in a moment.
Imagine a world where every brand knows your name and every store awaits your arrival. Elite shopping, travel where luxury is a lifestyle and every journey feels like home. Dine where every flavor is just for you, every table reserved, and every moment a taste of perfection. Make every big moment even bigger. Experience banking where wealth isn't just managed, it's maximized. Step into a world without limits. Commonwealth Bank, leader in personal banking services.
Experience the difference with BTC's fixed services. Whether you're working from home or enjoying family time, BTC ensures you're always in touch with the people and moments that count. BTC isn't just a service, it's a lifestyle. Stay connected, stay inspired, and live your best life. BTC.
KFC Value Box for just $9.95. Crunch your KFC craving with a KFC Value Box for just $9.95. Get a piece of our golden fried chicken, crispy fries, cheesy mashed potatoes, 3 juicy all-white meat nuggets, a buttery biscuit, a sweet dessert biscuit, and a 16-ounce soda, all for just $9.95. Now that's a deal. Big flavor, bigger value, and always KFC. Finger licking good.
Starting the cause for success. If you're looking for the perfect place to shape up your life, you ain't gotta look no further, just head to BTVI. You can build from foundation, they'll give you all the tools
to design a better future, the one that's best for you.
So get a jump start on your dream career. What are you waiting for? You have no time to spare.
BTVI for all of your professional needs. BTVI teaching you the steps to succeed.
The building blocks for you to get a brand new start.
Enhance your skills today and sign up for a course.
BTVI, yeah. Charting the course for success. Honey barbecue, sweet and spicy, all new.
Signature,
what's your flavor?
Roasted garlic parmesan, tastes so good, chicken, you know.
Those pepper wings.
Now available at Popeyes in Nassau.
the news is brought to you by Bahamas Striping Group of Companies. Safety first.
You're looking at a shot there of Betty Kelly Kenning National Aquatic Center, home of the Character Swim Team. Welcome back. Wicked weather is spawning a tornado over in Harbor Island, Eleuthera. Our team on the ground there spoke with officer in charge of the North Eleuthera District, Superintendent Adrian Knowles, who says the torrential rain and fierce wind of up to 60 to 70 miles per hour began as early as 8 a.m.
There were no significant damages, but we need to be aware of these type of weathers throughout the year. Be mindful that the hurricane season is coming up and we need to be prepared. So I encourage all individual residents and tourists alike to start preparing their homes, their properties for such unfortunate events. Get rid of all the debris, the dirt that are in your yard, things that are easy to be flown about. Get rid of them. Make sure your property is securely secured for this weather.
Chief Counselor for Harbor Island District Harvey Roberts and current resident Robert Griffin says today's tornado seemingly came out of nowhere. But when it did, there were flashbacks of a hurricane, snapped poles, downed cable wires, and lost transformers.
The pole, when it fell across the road, so it pulled the wires down with it. Yeah. So BPL is working very hard to try to get it back again. And I think it's about 2 businesses down there that are now closed due to no electricity because the pole just fell and destroyed. Even the tourism office upstairs, that was disrupted for a while as well. But thank God we're okay. We're okay. No one got hurt. That's the main thing. Yes. We're still cleaning up the area. Yeah.
We had a water spout that came off of the water into the land and then turned into like a mini tornado once it hit land. And then they had a boat flipped over. A bunch of the local park there was messed up pretty bad. Basketball rims and poles mashed down.
Well, Mother Nature particularly kind to the Bahamas last year. Though an extremely active hurricane season, the islands were spared the wrath of 2024's 18 named storms, 11 hurricanes, and 5 major hurricanes. And it's safe to presume Bahamians are praying for much of the same as the National Hurricane Center releases its 2025 hurricane names. Now, making this year's cut, Andrea, Barry, Chantal, Dexter, which replaces Dorian that was retired following 2019's mass devastation, Aaron, Fernan, Gabriel, Umberto, Imelda, Jerry, Karen, Lorenzo, Melissa, Nestor, Olga, Pablo, Rebecca, Sebastian, Tanya, Van, and Wendy. Experts warn that while there's still a few months before the season starts, it's not too early to start preparing. Well, tonight, we turn our attention to the evolving relationship between Canada and the Bahamas. In a recent sit-down with the Canadian High Commissioner here, our Devontae Hanna learns of the plans to better the future of this bilateral partnership.
Tonight, look into the future of an important diplomatic relationship between the Bahamas and Canada,
and particularly in the area of trade, commerce, business-to-business collaboration.
The Thai Commissioner Mark Berman on his first official visit here, and he says over a dozen Canadian investors will make their way in the country with hopes of shoring up economic collaboration.
We have a number of people on green technology, energy transition, agri-food, fintech, and IT Digicel. So it's looking at those areas where I think there's a real a feeling that the Bahamas is a good place to invest.
Reflecting on the global challenges facing the Bahamas, High Commissioner Berman believes the partnerships will give the Bahamas a much-needed boost as a small island developing state.
I think it takes the Bahamas in the direction they want to go, being a modern economy, being able to deal with issues of climate change in terms of green technologies and energy transition, being a modern society that focuses on technology, which is the direction that we're going in.
And a critical issue,
climate change is not forgotten as both countries strengthen ties.
We've been front and center on looking at issues of climate financing and try to make it more accessible to particularly countries like the Bahamas that are considered higher income, who've had more challenges accessing funding. And Canada has recognized some of the challenges and has worked very closely with this region.
The talks for a High Commissioner to be appointed to the Bahamas was initiated between Prime Minister Davis and President Trudeau during the Canada-CARICOM Summit in Ottawa back in 2023. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Devontae Hanna.
Well, thanks, Devontae. Meantime, the African Caribbean Trade and Logistics Consulting Group, headed by a group of Bahamians, congratulating the Davis administration for taking another major step to solidifying partnerships with Africa that will ultimately promote national development. CEO of the Afri-Caribbean Consulting Group, Melissa Darville, says the $200 million framework agreement the Prime Minister signed last week with Afri-Exim Bank President Benedict Orama couldn't have come at a better time, as Bahamians are blazing new trails of trade and commerce in Africa. Her group has officially announced its inaugural Afri-Caribbean Global Business Trade Expo, April 22nd and 23rd, at the prestigious Labadee Beach Hotel in Accra, Ghana.
This event will bring together businesses and investors from the Bahamas, Barbados, Jamaica, St. Lucia, Trinidad, Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, and more. This is your opportunity to connect with industry leaders, explore trade opportunities. Industries will be present from agriculture, manufacturing, logistics, finance, technology, real estate, agro-processing, textiles, even energy. Don't miss this chance to expand your reach, forge new partnerships, and to be a part of history.
We can also tell you tonight that the government's casting its net wide to ensure the country's fly fishing industry remains in the hands of Bahamians. The Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources, in partnership with the Small Business Development Center, has launched the Fly Fishing Entrepreneurs Initiative, a program aimed at equipping Bahamians with the resources, training, and support needed to thrive in the sector. As part of the initiative, the SBDC donated $50,000 to the Bahamas Fly Fishing Association to help sustain and expand Bahamian-owned businesses. With nearly 8,000 people employed in the sector, Executive Director of the SBDC, Samantha Roll, says this million-dollar industry is more than just a hobby.
These numbers highlight the great value that this industry has, and through this initiative, we will ensure that Bahamian fly fishing entrepreneurs have the tools, the training, and resources to build sustainable businesses that will last for generations.
Fishing Association member Valentino Monroe says funding is a big step in the right direction.
The grant funding will go a long way in helping our members and young Bahamians to realize their dreams, putting Bahamians in a better position to compete against the forces throughout the Bahamas. Many of them are international forces who have access to resources that often Bahamians do not have.
I'll tune into a special edition of The Rundown, 8 p.m. tomorrow, where officials at the SBDC will travel to Eleuthera for a town hall meeting to discuss and highlight several other initiatives with efforts to strengthen entrepreneurship in the Bahamas. Well, stay with us on The Beat is after the break.
LIFO called Smart Pass, the smart way to pay at the pump.
We're here at the Nassau Village Community Center project, where over the past 17 months, we've hired over 20 Bahamian subcontractors to bring this beautiful project to fruition.
I've been living in Nassau Village for more than 19 years, and to see a project like this bring great joy and pride to me.
This state-of-the-art multi-purpose community center will serve as a crime-fighting initiative in the community, also help with the education of our kids in this community, and a hurricane shelter.
Yeah, and it also shows what we as Bahamians can achieve when we work hand in hand with each other.
We have the technical know-how, and we can pretty much deliver on any project here in the Bahamas or in the world.
Bahamas Pipe and the Bahamian Company, they prove that they believe in Bahamians.
Based on the outcome of this project, I don't think they're disappointed in giving a small person an opportunity to do a job such as this.
The more opportunity they get, the more opportunity we will get.
If you look around and see the work done so far, it just shows what we as Bahamians can do.
Education is the key to success, and the University of the West Indies Global Campus Bahamas is your partner in success. Take a course that increases your value in a matter of weeks, or get that degree you've been dreaming of with convenient online learning. Visit us at global.uwi.edu/Bahamas, call 323-6593, or WhatsApp 456-6687 today.
Lessons gonna find me.
Introducing the Focal Smart Pass app that helps you to fuel up faster. Here's how it works. Download the app on the App Store or get it on Google Play and create your profile with payment details. Visit your nearest Shell station, open the app, scan the pump's QR code, select your payment amount, and begin fueling. Say goodbye to cash and cards because the Focal Smart Pass offers secure and convenient payment options right at your fingertips. Download Focal Smart Pass now and fuel up faster today.
Heart Month is coming to a close, but in no way does this mean our concern should. An expert cardiologist explains why the heart is one of the most important organs. Our Danielle Dean has more in tonight's Health Matters.
If you're not preventing it, you're promoting it.
A short and sweet message by cardiologist Dr. Conville Brown, applicable to any bad habit one willingly fosters. The heart enables the flow of blood to every cell, tissue, and organ, including the brain, making it one of, if not the most important organ in the body.
So when we get amputations, it's not just because of diabetes, it's because the diabetes contributes to the blood vessels getting blocked off. And then the feet don't get blood flow, and you have to snip off the toes, and then the top of the foot, then above the ankle, then below the knee, and then above the knee, and before you know it, you're walking around on crutches, if you're lucky.
Brown, an expert in the field of cardiology for decades, says there's not much that can't be prevented with a healthy lifestyle, stressing the importance of running away from the foods and habits that do not serve the body and disrupt its functions. With Health Matters for the Bahamas tonight, I'm Danielle Dean.
Well, it's now time to check in with LaDawn for a sneak peek of Access Now. LaDawn, what do you have for us tonight?
Well, Makushla, BTC launched its new gadget, the S25 series, and we've got all of the highlights about its features coming up in Access Now.
Good news for all you techies out there. Stay with us. Our feature story is up next.
Diet-friendly special.
What if I told you Wendy's has a new burger? With a flavor so secret, it's almost too delicious to handle. Well, now it's time to unlock that flavor. Try the new sweet and smoky barbecue cheeseburger. We can't tell you everything, but we can tell you that it's packed with flavor, including our secret barbecue sauce. Try the new sweet and smoky barbecue cheeseburger today. Available for a limited time. Limited time. Limited time.
What? You don't know what TDC is?
Tourism Development Corporation? You mean the Ministry of Tourism? No, that ain't the same thing, but the Tourism Development Corporation helps to develop and grow Bahamian businesses in the tourism industry. You heard what I say, Mike? Oh, yeah. Develop and grow. You don't know what all the things they do? What does do? Wait, check the website, boy.
Start your journey to ownership of our #1 industry today. Log on to tdcbahamas.com.
Hey, Josie. Hey, honey. You got no message for me yet? Can I tell you why I get no money? At least not yet. I get my money. Managers. Oh, I done upload it.
Hello, Miss Daisy. Your check is ready.
Thanks. I got it. I come for that little thing. You got it?
Money managers, responsible lenders for responsible people.
The 81st Bahamas Red Cross Fair, just a little more than a month away, Saturday, March 29th to be exact. The venue, the Arawak Key Fish Fry Heritage Site. This year's theme, Generation to Generation. President of the Bahamas Red Cross, Addison Sumner, assures the public that proceeds will continue to go toward helping those most vulnerable in the community.
We would like to see a net return of at least $150,000, right? And much more than that if we can raise a lot more. I think we'll do better this year than we've done in previous years because we are planning for it. I think that we will attract a lot more people than we had last year because we were up against some very stiff competition last year with people having to travel to regattas and homecomings and the rest of it. So we were very careful this year to plan this event when there was nothing else like that happening that will interfere with our support base for the fair.
Well, that does it for the National Report, but stay close. The Bahamas Tonight continues with Access Now.
Welcome to What's Trending. Join me, Jiminita Swain.
And me, The Bahama Beauty, Monday through Thursday at 6 p.m.
Only on the ZNS Network.
Keeping you in the know. Keeping you in the know. God, it's good enough to eat and it's good to grow. It's good enough to eat, then it's good to grow.
In kitchens across the Bahamas, the fiery kick of goat peppers is a familiar taste. But for Chantel Ferguson, it's the heart of a growing business. Sourcing these vibrant peppers from local farmers, she crafts rich, flavorful spices and sauces that bring the essence of the islands to every dish.
Kind of like I stumbled across dealing with the goat pepper. Basically, one day I made some sauce, and I sent them to my brother, gave him a little sauce that I make that I normally, like we all have a way of preserving our peppers. So I just sent a little bit of it with him, and he called me back, he was like, hey, where you get that sauce from? He's like, that bad. He's like, what you talking about? That's just a little something that I do just to preserve the peppers so they don't go bad. He said, well, you need them after that.
What started as a passion for bold flavors has now turned into a brand that's catching the attention of quite a number of Bahamians. With every bottle and jar, Ferguson isn't just selling heat. She's bottling the essence of Bahamian tradition, one pepper at a time.
A lot of people ask me, well, why goat pepper? I love my country, love being a Bahamian, and I just feel like we're losing too much of ourselves, and like because goat pepper is something that's ours. Since I got started in the business, I understand also that goat pepper is gradually becoming extinct, and I would want to keep something that's ours for as long as I possibly can.
And her products aren't just regular sauces and powders. Ferguson continues to push the limits by adding peppers in unlikely places.
So my customer favorites are basically like the candies. What I did, I took the traditional Bahamian Benny peanut and coconut cake and added a gourmet twist on it with goat pepper. And then also the lime and pepper seasoning. That's everything you basically need in one packet for your seafood. But basically in our household, we use it on everything from seafood to chicken. We use it on vegetables. We use it on fruits. So yeah, and then also the hot sauces. those are basically the favorites.
So if you're interested in trying any of Ferguson's products, head on over to Facebook and Instagram for more details. Keeping you in the know with Good to Grow, I'm Leah Cooper.
New Mount Zion is celebrating its Diamond Jubilee with intent. Details are straight ahead. Plus, Commonwealth Brewery Limited and Red Bull are in partnership. Sounds like a great mix. Kiss My Peach is all about empowerment. Destiny Reed has a story. Stay close for that. And coming up in sports, an overtime thriller in the Hugh Campbell title game. Find out who came out on top.
The Bahamas Tonight Access Now starts now.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight Access Now. I'm LaDawn Davis. Thanks so much for tuning in. Last night, the Rundown featured the newly appointed Commissioner of Police, and tonight, the Rundown features the Commodore of the Defense Force. But before all of that, let's dive right into the news, shall we? Staff at New Mount Zion Baptist Church are looking to expand their reach and revamp their methods as they commemorate their Diamond Jubilee year. Son of lead pastor John Stewart says while 60 years is no small feat, some of what worked one time ago no longer does.
There is a call to relevance for the church. We're now finding the need to put more time and effort into media, more time and effort into placing one's footprint and imprint on the internet, making sure that you branch out in terms of, social media and having your own web page and making sure that you're getting out on the platforms that provide worldwide broadcasting.
Pastor Alfred Stewart assumed the lead pastoral position back in 2009. His 16 years of experience has taught him not to major on the minors. He addressed the public's opinion that the island is unnecessarily populated with an excessive amount of churches.
We shouldn't let that be a distraction from the church. The focal point that we need to stay focused on is the fact that, there's only one church, all right? And no matter how we try to divide ourselves, there's only one church. God has one church in the earth, and he sees us all as one.
An exciting partnership celebrating Commonwealth Brewery Limited and Red Bull. On Friday, team members toasting to the partnership now securing the Red Bull brand as the newest branch of CBL beverage offerings. CBL's sales director, Wenrick Clark, and partnership director, Andre Wold, are fired up.
It's a really exciting moment for us here at Commonwealth Brewery as we are officially welcoming the Red Bull brand to our family of brands. Very excited, and I want to have you know, this is not just about adding another brand to our portfolio. No, this is a commitment of CBL to globally world-class brands and world-class brand experiences.
Red Bull is a globally recognized brand. It's something that a lot of people of all ages love to consume. It's a very versatile beverage, and partnering with a company like CBL, with the kind of dominance that we also have in the market, the reach that we have that we're able to provide to Red Bull, it's a match made in heaven.
With the Red Bull name synonymous with the quote, Red Bull gives you wings, portfolio manager Denzel DeVoe says the partnership is about flying to new heights.
We're known as a beer company, but we wanted to go a little bit beyond beer. And this made sense in terms of the partnership because this is something that you have the #1 category leader coming towards the #1 distribution leader.
The new wave of Samsung, now available locally through BTC, the communications company, on Friday hosted the official launch of the much-anticipated Samsung S25 series. Commercial Operations Director Keisha Edwards and Compliance Officer Rochelle Morrison highlighting the release with exciting new features from the Samsung line, including the enhanced pen for productivity, ultra-fast performance with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 processors, among attractive upgrades.
We are very excited to bring
this device, the Bahamas, exclusively available by BTC. What we try to do is, of course, continue in pushing innovation, and this device offers quite a lot to our, basically a very Samsung-oriented market.
So we have 3 amazing devices in the series. We have the Samsung S25, then we have the S25 Plus, and then we have the Samsung S25 Ultra, which is for our customers who enjoy that tab phone experience.
Samsung merchant Milan Sherman says following significant research, users will likely appreciate the enhanced security features.
Samsung has the Knox security. I know that is something that I would say our competitor, Apple, would say that Apple users would say that, the security is amazing there. I understand that. But with Knox security, Samsung takes a lot of pride in making sure that your personal, private information is absolutely secured.
BTC hosting a fun-filled community event at the Coral Harbor Park recently, providing local residents with entertainment, food, games, and an opportunity to become part of the BTC Nation. CEO of BTC, Samir Bhatti, says that this event is one of many designed to say thank you to its customers for their consistent support.
Coral Harbor is 100% fiber capable. Many customers here already have fiber. We want to say thank you to them for taking fiber. It is the best network here in the Bahamas. It's been awarded as the best network in the Bahamas. But for us to say thank you also means that we're here to show up for our network, to show up for our services, and today to show up for our community. That's what today is all about. It's about gratitude.
And while the main focus of the event is in showing gratitude, Bhatti says that BTC staff is just as focused on ensuring that all necessary network upgrades are met for its customers.
My entire senior leadership team is out here. We're listening to customers. We're going to take it back and unpack what we hear. In some cases, if customers have an issue where they're not getting what they expect, we're solving it right here on the grounds. Or if we need to roll a truck, a tech to their homes, we will do that. That's another example of how we are leaning into community.
Shantana Etienne is shaking up the fitness scene with Kiss My Peach, an empowering activewear brand designed to make women feel sexy, strong, and comfortable both in and out of the gym. Destiny Reed has a story.
When Shantana Etienne stepped into the world of fitness, she didn't just want to find the perfect gym wear. She wanted to create it. Fueled by a passion for both style and strength, she's now launching Kiss My Peach, an activewear brand designed to empower women to feel unstoppable, both inside and outside the gym. What started as a dream to merge fashion with functionality has quickly turned into a reality, and this bold new brand is ready to inspire a movement. This isn't just about clothes, it's about embracing confidence, breaking boundaries, and showing up as your best self every day.
I just wanted people to feel good and look good and feel confident while working, no baggy t-shirts and all that, just bring a different look to the gym.
Etienne expressed confidence in overcoming the challenges she's faced, stating that while the journey has not been easy, she is determined to rise to the top.
There was moments, first of all, like I said, finding someone that could bring me good quality, make my brand represent me in the way that I wanted to. That was a challenge to me. And then also, I'm not the only one selling athleisure wear or general power. So that was another challenge for me. But I overcame that by just bringing me to my brand. There's only one me, and only I could represent and make my brand what I wanted to.
A message from Etienne to those who think that they can't?
Just start. Don't think about it too much. Once you have the basics, just start. And I promise you everything's gonna work.
With determination and passion, Shantana Etienne has turned a dream into reality. As this brand grows, it's clear that Etienne is not just creating clothes, but crafting a community of women who are ready to break barriers. And the best part? This is only the beginning. With Kiss My Peach, the future of fitness fashion is in powerful, inspiring hands. For the Bahamas Tonight Access Now, I am Destiny Reed.
Good story there, Destiny. And still to come, law enforcement joins us tonight. We're going to find out all about the Choose Peace, Not Violence Symposium. So keep it locked.
Extended Security offer a varied range of security services, including guard service. We do armored service, we do pre-employment investigation, background checks, also get people for employment. A live business hosted PBX is extremely important to our operation. I don't have to be in my office. I can easily get connected with our clients, my vendors, my NASA office, and with our employees in the field, anytime, anywhere.
Hi, I'm Brent Burrows, Vice President of Retail and Sales at CBS Bahamas and the CBS Pro Store. Not only do we guarantee the best prices on all your favorite building materials, but we're proud to offer the best delivery program in all of Nassau. Whether you buy one box of screws or a truckload of plywood, island-wide delivery is just $5. And for our Family Island customers, we're proud to offer complimentary drop-off to the mailboat of your choice. Visit us today at the CBS Pro Store on Robinson Road and check out our website to set up your next delivery.
Our mandate on the mission statement for the program is to develop community leaders and nation builders through the art of Jonkono. The future belongs to them, so being able to instill the culture in young people and at the same time make them productive citizens of the society is basically what our program offers. We teach them from scratch, so how to pace, how to beat a drum, how to ring a cowbell, how to blow a horn, to get that good understanding of what the culture is like. The program is more than just Jonkono itself, where we bring a group of teens to perform, but we also assist them with life lessons, find scholarship opportunities for them to go abroad and further their education. In this day and time, it's very hard for kids coming up, and so we try to find means within the Jonkono arena, but at the same time use just Jonkono as the outlet to make them better at life. Crime-free? Looks like me.
Do your part. Join the movement to a safer Bahamas.
You're looking at a live shot of Nassau Cruise Port. That shot is courtesy of our drone pilot, Destiny Reed. Let's take a trip down to North Andros. Andros and you think you have entered Foggy Bottom, then guess again. You are in North Andros and the area is just experiencing a little fog, so drive carefully. Here's a caution from Beverly Larimore, Family Island Administrator for North Andros.
We would like to advise residents, especially motorists that live in pine forest areas, to be careful on the road, especially early mornings when driving vehicles, to watch out for pedestrians, as there are always continuous thick fog on the roadways early morning. This can be very dangerous if not cautious when driving, as sometimes visibility is near zero.
So watch out for the fog over there in Andros. Tonight, Assistant Superintendent of Police Kendra Wallace-Wims joins us along with Inspector Rose Simmons. Ladies, welcome both to the Bahamas Tonight Access Now.
Thank you, LaDawn, for having us.
So, Mrs. Wims, or should I say Inspector Wims, Assistant, yes, talk to us a little bit about this event and how did it all come about.
Well, this event came about through the partnership with the Anglican Diocese Bahamas Church, and in conjunction with the Royal Bahamas Police Force Domestic Violence Task Force Unit, as it relates of domestic that is occurring in the country, which has been existed for many decades, which also is a disease that has plagued our society. And now we find that we need to sensitize our members of the public, as well as our law enforcement agencies and our partners within our community on what domestic violence is. And not only that, how it impacts the lives of families, women, men, and children, and to see how we could assist victims as well as perpetrators holistically.
Why was it so important to host an event like this at this particular time?
Because as it relates to the violence that is occurring in the Bahamas currently, we see that we need to be more proactive in the community as it relates to domestic violence and violence in general. Our young people needs to be reached. Our women need to be reached as well as our young men. We find that because violence are in the home, And because children see violence on a daily basis and they are reared in homes of violence, they think that is the norm. So now they are acting out these violence as adults. So now we find that we have to reach out to not only our partners, but our women, our men, our school system, and every aspect of society to show them that, hey, there are systems in place that can help victims holistically, children, men in particular, who are now coming forward in reporting matters of domestic violence, which was not heard of back in the day, but now it always existed, LaDawn. So now we're trying to sensitize members of the public to let them understand and be more aware that we have programs, we have agencies that exist that is here to assist victims holistically as well as perpetrators.
And speaking of sensitizing the public, who are you expecting to attract at this symposium?
Awesome. We are expecting to attract law enforcement agencies as well as government agencies, our faith-based ministries, non-profit organizations, our Civic Bahamas as well, and the Bahamas holistically. So everyone is invited to this event because what we want to do is to sensitize everyone to know exactly what the Royal Bahamas Police Force is offering as it relates to assisting victims and perpetrators, as well as the Anglican Diocese Church.
Now, Inspector Simmons, I want to get you in on the conversation. Talk to us a little bit about some of the presenters and the topics at this symposium.
Well, firstly, let me say that this event, which is scheduled for Wednesday the 26th at the Paul Farquharson Conference Center at Police Headquarters, it's going to be the first of many. This is not going to be the only symposium. The event tomorrow is focused on law enforcement agencies and government agencies, but in the future there are going to be more that's open to the public and also for perpetrators themselves, where they can get the help that they need. Presenting personnel from the Anglican Diocesan, you have Miss Cheryl Carroll, Dr. Neville Evans, Dr. Valerie Knowles, and Mrs. Tanya Seymour.
And can you remind the public as to where and when the event is going to take place?
The event that is scheduled for tomorrow is the 26th of February 2025 at 10 a.m. That would be at the Paul Farquharson Conference Center, Police Headquarters. But that is only the first of many of these types of symposiums.
All right, Assistant Superintendent Kendra Wallace-Wims, I want to get it right, and Inspector Rose Simmons, thank you guys so much for joining us here on the Bahamas Tonight Access Now, and all the best to you in your symposium tomorrow evening.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's take a look at what's coming up in sports.
Tabernacle and CI Gibson in an overtime thriller at last night's Hugh Campbell Championship game. Details of that story and more coming up in sports. Welcome to your Tuesday Sports, everyone. I'm Amajal Knowles, topping sports. Well, if you weren't at the Kendall G. Isaacs Gymnasium last night, you missed an instant classic. The Tabernacle Baptist Falcons and the CI Gibson Rattlers in an overtime thriller in the 41st Hugh Campbell Tournament Championship game. No need for any intros. Let's get straight to the highlights. First quarter action, Tabby leading by 3. That lead quickly equalized as Darius Hannah with the triple here. He had 16 on the night. Next possession, Hannah with the hot hand early. He would hit another one from behind the arc to give CI the early lead. Still in the first, the Rattlers would get the steal. Melvin Simeon finding Conde Smith in transition for the tough layup. Rattlers going up 19-8 to end the first period. Second quarter, Tayshaun Butler attacking in transition, making the tough layup to give CI a 17-point advantage, their biggest lead of the night. To the second half, where the pendulum would swing in favor of the Falcons. Gianno Murray with a tough floater in the lane here for 2 of his 16 points. Still in the third, Tabby getting the steal. Anthony Missick would find Claudius Burrows in transition for the two-handed flush. Falcons cut the lead to 9. Tabby within 2 outlet passes. Burrows finds Missick in transition. He would miss the layup, with the cleanup man Dylan Morris with the putback to tie things up at 38 apiece. Fast forward to the fourth, the Falcons clinging to a 2-point lead. Butler in transition with the easy layup for 2 of his 23 points. Game tied at 57. Fast forward just under 10 seconds to go in the fourth. A pivotal call here, and what initially would look like a foul. Referee is ruling a jump ball, possession arrow in favor of the Rattlers, much to the dismay of the pro-Tabernacle fans in attendance. CI inbounding the ball. Butler would find Mario Roll underneath for the inside tough layup, tying things up at 73 apiece. Tabby with an opportunity to win at the buzzer, but the final attempt from Claudius Burrows is no good, and we have free basketball. In overtime, Tabby still clinging to a 1-point lead. And here goes the cleanup man, Dylan Morris, yet again with another tough layup to extend Tabby's lead to 2. Final 10 seconds of overtime, Rattlers with possession. Conde Smith with a 3-point attempt, but it is no good. Tabby gets the rebound, but the Rattlers are able to get the steal. Melvin Simeon with one last desperation attempt for CI, but it is no good. The Falcons hold on, rallying from a 17-point first-half deficit to secure the 89-87 win and now the 9th Hugh Campbell title in school history and 3rd for head coach Kevin Clark.
We just fell down in the beginning, but our coach is motivating us and us looking at each other and saying we could do better than that. We just pulled it together and scored the ball, played defense, played hard, and came back.
Let's look at your sports on this Tuesday. A check on weather when we return.
Throughout our lifetime, we must all make decisions. No matter how we choose, the right one just needs to be made. Like having J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents and Brokers as your insurance partner. We've been serving the Bahamas for over 100 years. Whether you need home, motor, marine, or commercial insurance, make the right decision. Call 397-2100 or visit jsjohnson.com. JS Johnson Insurance. Peace of mind.
It's time now for your Access weather forecast. A pre-frontal trough moved through the northwest Bahamas last night and this morning with some showers, some of which were heavy at times. The line of showers is now moving into the southeast Bahamas, but the heavy stuff seems to be over the open waters of the Atlantic. And your boating forecast tonight is brought to you by Live Business, where we bulk up your business. For all areas tonight, those winds, they're going to swing out of the northwest behind that front. Speeds about 10 to 15 knots. The wave heights 2 to 4 feet. Tide-wise, it's going to be low at 11:53 tonight. And then tomorrow in the northwestern islands, the winds become northeast to east at 10 to 15 knots. The wave heights 2 to 4 feet. High tide will occur at 6:15 in the morning with the low tide at 12:41 in the afternoon. And for the central and southeastern islands, beautiful boating conditions, light and variable winds with flat seas. And then as we take you to Thursday, in the northwestern islands, that clockwise rotation continue, winds becoming southeast to south at 10 to 15 knots, the wave heights 2 to 4 feet. Now the high tide on Thursday, that will take place at 7:01 in the morning, with a low tide at 1:23 in the afternoon. And for the central and southeastern islands, the winds pick up just a bit, southeast 10 to 15 knots, the wave heights 2 to 4 feet. That's going to do it for your boating forecast. It's time now for your international temperatures, and they are brought to you by Royal Star Assurance.
Like a nice bright summer day, if you're feeling me, put your hands in the air. With my arms around her waist and with her hair on my shoulder, my lovely island woman, talking back just like a lobster, if you're feeling me.
And that's That's got to do it for your international temperatures, brought to you by Royal Star Assurance. But join me at 11 o'clock for a full weather update. Well done.
Thanks a lot, Basil. Some rain this morning, but it looks like sun with a little bit of clouds for the rest of the week. Let's turn things over now to Matea Cunningham, and let's talk socials.
Hi, social media lights. Matea here again, and you're watching Let's Talk Socials. Today, we're talking about a video circulating not just on Bahamian TikTok, but across Caribbean TikTok. I'm sure most of you are familiar with Fantasia, the early 2010s R&B artist who had us all in our fields. Well, are you familiar with her song, When I See You? I bet you don't remember it sounding like this. Roll the tape.
I put my party on the barrel. I look back and my party ain't there. I asked my brother where it is. He say, I don't know, boy. How about you go check again? Looking out for my hot party. I see a crumb on this boy left cheek. What's happening to me? All I want is my hot body. This boy eat my body. I don't know if I should freak out. I don't know if I should cry. My hot body, why? My body on my mind. My belly grumping, I got my hot body. My hot body. Whoa, 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 oh. My body on my mind. My belly grumping, I got my hot body. Whoa, whoa. My hot body.
Okay, so maybe there was a rendition done Bahamian style, but I'd say it could give the original a run for its money, no? This serves as yet another reminder that Bahamians are some of the most creative people in the world. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Matea, and this has definitely been Let's Talk Socials.
And that's a wrap for us tonight. Make sure to stay tuned for the Rundown with Clint Watson. Good night, everybody.
We are here in the time of need. There's no discrimination. The mission is to relieve the suffering. We volunteer, we deliver care. With donors and partners, we're always here to turn compassion into action. Protecting life and health with our training throughout the years. We empower to heal the world. There is hope, assistance with disasters. There is shelter and love for our people. We can work together to help those in need. So volunteer with us and donate to show you care. There is hope, assistance with disasters. There is shelter and love for our people. We can work together to help those in need. So volunteer with us and donate to show you care. Together, let's build a more resilient Bahamas. Community farming for food security. Climate programs suited for our island country. Together, let's build a more resilient Bahamas.
This message brought to you by the Bahamas Red Cross Society in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
Has been the trusted voice of journalism for over 2 decades. He is your first choice for hard-hitting discussions, your best choice for current affairs issues and investigative journalism. It's time to start the journey of relentless journalism. It's time to start the journey of facts over fiction. It's time for the Rundown with Clint Watson here on ZNS, where only the sun covers the Bahamas better.
At Harold One, I'm Ted Jervis, and this is ZNS.
The Rundown is brought to you by Commonwealth Brewery Limited. everyone, and welcome to the show. It's great to have you with us on a Tuesday evening. Well, governments hit the mid-year budget mark, the 2024-2025 budget year, and tomorrow, Minister of Finance, Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip Davis, will deliver the mid-year communication. Now, during last year's remarks on March 6th, Prime Minister Davis affirmed that the mid-year budget affords his administration the opportunity to highlight for the Bahamian people the decisions we have made during the first half of the fiscal year to enhance economic, social, and national security while driving progress on our goal of creating a more dynamic, more inclusive, and more resilient economy and society. He also touted then that the government's vision was already taking form. Now, the current budget, that's the 2024 to 2025 cycle, serves as a pivot towards a new era for the Bahamas. It's designed to enhance the well-being of Bahamians, promote economic growth, consistently improve revenue, and prudently, of course, look at the projections that are actually serving ahead of you. Now, what's important for you to understand with this particular budget is that it is designed really, as they look at the next 6 months, to be able to determine whether or not government is on place, whether it's in place, whether government is on target to reach its destination, or whether there needs to be some level of adjustment in the budget. Now, this is also a good point to say that during the mid-year budget communication, it's also the opportunity for government to be able to say, maybe we need to tweak this particular thing. Maybe we need to change what we're doing here. Maybe we need to kind of add this or add that based on the performance of the administration. Remember, at the end of the day, it's the budget that really fuels and funds the government's plan and its vision. And so at the end of the day, it has to ensure that we're on target or not on target to achieving what it is we set out to achieve. And as you can imagine, this is a crucial time as you stare elections, general elections in the eyes next year, that it is important that this cycle, the next 6 months, and then of course that all-important budget that takes you into an election are actually achieving what it is that an administration sets out to achieve. This is going to be critical. So when you listen tomorrow to the communication, which by the way will be aired on our parliamentary channel tomorrow at 10 a.m. from the Prime Minister, you want to listen for key areas such as cost of living, what they're going to do with that, such as economic programs, how they're going to grow the economy, social well-being, welfare programs, how they're going to assist those in need, and of course, capital works. Are there going to be new roads? We heard Soros contract got signed for $200 million while he was at CARICOM by the Afro-Exim Bank. So there are a number of things you want to listen for that will kind of help you gauge for the next 6 months what to expect when it comes to the government's finances. You'll also see where there's reallocations. For example, if they feel they need more funding in certain areas to be able to put through certain programs, they got to bring on additional team, staff members, they're accounting for more salaries or consultants. These are the things you're going to look for because it'll kind of help you understand what it is a government is focusing on for the next 18 months that it has left in office, a year to 18 months, 2 years in office. And so it'll help you understand whether or not the government is going to use any new initiatives that can perhaps benefit the people, or what the focus really is. Efforts like climate change and also hurricane season, disaster preparedness, I mean, the new ministry. All of those areas are key areas that you ought to watch for to see whether there are going to be actual changes, and that will help you understand what the focus and the agenda of the government is as it completes this particular fiscal year of 6 months and then on to its final budget for this term in office. So some pretty interesting things there that are expected to come out of this budget report. And of course, Minister of Economic Affairs, Michael Halkitis, would have been one talking about what could be expected, what he expects the government to talk about, what he expects the Prime Minister to deliver. And of course, again, we encourage you to tune into the parliamentary channel 10 o'clock tomorrow morning for live coverage of the Prime Minister's mid-year budget communication in the House of Assembly. And, you know, before we continue with this, what I think is important to say so we understand exactly why this is important. A lot of times we like to engage in debates and discussions about priorities, focus, where the money should go, what people should be doing? Well, you cannot engage into a full debate if you don't understand the message. And tomorrow the message comes out. That's why it's important for Bahamians to tune in. When you tune in, you're able to hear what the Prime Minister plans on doing for the next 6 months. What is his position? What is a government's position? What is a country's fiscal position? When you have that information, you can engage in any debate because you now have heard the information and the facts, and now you can argue until you tie it. But you cannot argue without the information. You cannot argue without hearing the plan. And so that's why it's so important to ensure that you tune in so that you can engage in educated discussions and debates and dialogue. That's very important. Also, in the government's budget agenda, financing all national law enforcement agencies. This is critical to not only fighting the crime war, but also protecting our borders. And that's the job of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. The country's military agency requires funding to fulfill its mandate. That includes protecting our territorial integrity, patrolling our waters, providing assistance in times of disaster, and maintaining order in conjunction with the law enforcement agencies of the Bahamas. It's Law Enforcement Week here on the Rundown. Last night we heard from the Royal Bahamas Police Force Commissioner, and tonight we'll hear from the Commander, the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, Commodore Dr. Raymond King. We have a number of questions to ask him tonight, and hopefully we'll get those answers and have a better understanding of the Defense Force role and really his position and his plans. And that's going to be an exciting discussion, so stay tuned. When we come back after this break, the Commodore will be here. We're going to have a pretty interesting discussion. You're watching The Rundown here on the ZNS Network. We're back after this. Stay close.
The internet isn't just for surfing. There's a sea of shoppers buying online, and you can connect with them on Tingsy. Tingsy is the SBDC's online storefront built for Bahamians. Take your business to the next level by selling to customers online, both at home and around the world. People want Bahamian things, and if you got things to sell, sell on Tingsy. Find out how you can connect with a sea of buyers by visiting tingsybahamas.com.
Diet-friendly special.
Make this year your best year yet. Education is the key to success, and the University of the West Indies Global Campus Bahamas is your partner in success. Take a course that increases your value in a matter of weeks, or get that degree you've been dreaming of with convenient online learning. Visit us at global.uwi.edu/Bahamas, call 323-6593, or WhatsApp 456-6687 today.
Lessons gonna find me.
Welcome back, and a special good evening to all of you watching on our social media platforms. Those of you in the Lion's Den on Facebook, good to have you with us. Those of you on YouTube, those of you watching from your various platforms or on your digital media platforms, good to have you. Those in the Turks and Caicos Islands, always a special welcome to you as well, and from around the world. Well, by an act of Parliament, the Royal Bahamas Defense Force became an official entity on the 31st of March, 1980, falling under the Ministry of National Security. The country's military has two career tracks: Marine rating and officer ranks. The enlisted personnel ranks range from Marine Seaman to Force Chief Petty Officer. The force is organized and trained along the lines of the British Royal Navy. Many of the officers attend British service academies. Now, the Defense Forces headquarters is housed at the new National Security Complex on John F. Kennedy Drive here in New Providence. Additional bases are located, as you know, Coral Harbor, in Matthewstown and Agua, Marsh Harbor, Abaco, Freeport, Grand Bahama, Gunpoint, Ragged Island. Currently, currently leading the Royal Bahamas Defense Force is Dr. Raymond King, enlisted on January 12, 1987, as a member of the new entry 19. Commodore King was granted an appointment as a midshipman and completed his officer training at the Britannia Royal Naval College in Dartmouth, England in 1990 and received his commission in 1992. King's most recent appointments include Port Controller as the Admiralty Marshal for the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, or at least technical marine docks, prior to his appointment as Commodore Defense Force on April 15, 2020. It is my pleasure indeed to welcome to the rundown Commodore of the Defense Force, Dr. Raymond King. Sir, welcome. Good to have you.
A pleasant good evening to you, Mr. Watson. Good evening, Bahamas. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. There's so much I want to talk about the Defense Force because the role of the Defense Force is so critical, right? We always talk about the police force and how they provide safety for us on the streets and in our communities, but I don't think we give enough focus on the fact that what's keeping us safe in this country are your officers who are out there on the waters protecting our borders from the criminal element trying to come into the country or just anything that's happening out there. You're protecting the citizens who are on land and even on sea as well. Let's talk a little bit about the role of the Defense Force and some of the things you've been able to achieve and do over the years, and really what is the work of the Defense Force that people sometimes don't recognize.
The Royal Bahamas Defense Force is primarily tasked with the defense of the Bahamas. And the associated missions includes the protection of our territorial and sovereign waters, to work in conjunction in the maintenance of law and order with other law enforcement agencies, disaster response, search and rescue. We provide support to civilian as well as diplomatic cause. And so our role is really diverse, but it's critical as it relates to border protection and border security. The men and women of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force would have done a yeoman's job over the last 5.5 years in protecting our borders, primarily as we reflect on illegal migration. I'm sure you could recall many years ago, almost every morning, you probably woke up and heard there was another landing. And that's unheard of now. The fishes, they've been quite pleased over the last 4 or 5 years. Their yields are greater. Their traps have not been tampered with. Little or no sighting of poachers in our waters. And they're excited. We have done a tremendous job with our regional partners against arms and ammunition smuggling by way of the maritime routes, drug trafficking, all of those border patrol concerns, to the extent that we would have lent our resources directly with our sister agency, the Royal Bahamas Police Force, with domestic security and stemming the tide of what's going on in the country, as well as being community leaders through our deliberate community relations program and being a corporate entity, as well as in our national youth development programs, with the youth intervention programs. And so we would have done extremely well with our primary responsibility with the protection, security of our maritime borders against those transnational criminal organizations and activities, as well as nation builders and community leaders.
You've mentioned a whole lot of stuff in there, and I'm trying to break it down because you talk about a whole lot of things that I think are critical to point out. And I think the first thing I want to point out is you talked about the fact that we almost every day used to see or hear of sightings. And it is true. We haven't heard about that much anymore. Is that speaking directly to the efforts of your officers, or is it just that migrants aren't no longer taking the voyage, or what some people call number 3, we're just not seeing them come in?
It's twofold. One, in terms of our execution, it's research-based and results-oriented. I would have spent more than 80% of my career in the maritime domain. And so I know what the strategies are by those transnational criminal networks. And so I would have done extensive research as a junior officer, and I was able to employ those strategies, and the operational team, the logistics, the maintenance, and the support units all bought into the strategy that has been very, very successful. So it hasn't been by chance.
It's deliberate efforts.
Deliberate efforts. Strategic planning, strategic execution. But I won't take away from the policies of the U.S. administration under the Biden era. Those policies sort of diverted the movement of migrants, those temporary protection status, the 2-year residency programs, and you had more migrants moving towards the U.S. border from Mexico seeking asylum and to get into the United States. That would have stemmed the flow over the last year and a half in particular. Because 2 years ago, we would have experienced some, I think it was about 2,500 migrants, and we had a 75% decrease. It's just under 900 this year, and coming from the southeastern Bahamas. However, with the new U.S. administration,
not about that,
we've seen an uptick, particularly towards our cousins in the southeast, Turks and Caicos. They would have had some 5 incursions or attempts recently.
Because of the new administration and the policies shutting down a lot of this ease of applying for asylum, you're now seeing an uptick.
That's affirmative. And so we're working along with the Turks and Caicos regiment. We have an agreement whereby we embark their ship riders to assist them. We have a 60-meter craft in the southeastern Bahamas. I think we're moving to embark their ship riders to assist them. But they're being targeted at this time. But we are watching our borders carefully. We continue to maintain our relationship through the OBBAT program, Turks and Caicos, Bahamas, in the United States Coast Guard, as well as we receive information and intel from the Cuban Border Patrol. So we all collaborate and coordinate, and we are monitoring those lanes for migrant movements, as well as drug trafficking coming from the south, Jamaica, Venezuela, Colombia, coming up through the Bahamas. We all share intelligence in terms of stemming those threats.
You talk about the fact that you have to protect our borders. And when we talk about resources on the ground with police officers, we're talking about getting vehicles, ensuring there are vehicles that are functioning, more vehicles so that we can do saturation patrols. You don't have to worry too much about cars because your means of patrolling is by vessels. How have we been able to keep that afloat? And I see the little smirk because you probably know I'm going to talk about some of the conditions of these vessels and how they really are hampering some of you, the ability of you to do what it is that you need to do. And of course, we can buy 3 cars, but you can't buy 3 boats. That's millions of dollars. And the expense of maintaining and keeping them up. Let's talk about the fleet.
All right. The cost of maintaining ships is extremely expensive. One of the challenges we'll be facing is what I would call the inflexibility in the procurement system. It's very robust, bureaucratic, and it simply hinders the ability to make urgent purchases for spares, equipment, and parts.
So that was very diplomatic. Let me break it down for you. The bureaucracy in government of getting approval to get funds to deal with purchasing what is needed takes too long. Okay, continue.
Right. Secondly, the budgetary allocations. But we've had positive discussions going into this budget preparation in terms of having adequate funding for the maintenance and repairs during the year.
It's never enough. It's always underfunded. Right. And I can tell you that because I go through an exercise every year with the Broadcasting Corporation. I'm doing it right now. And you put in there figures that you need in order to be able to operate and to function effectively because it ain't wishful thinking. It's just reality of what you need to maintain. And then when the budget comes across, you look at the line item, you're like, did you not get the memo?
Right.
I had to put that in there because I feel the pain right now. That's why I put it in there.
We've had some positive discussions in terms of resetting because we have to ensure that we have adequate funding for the annual dry docking routines, as well as a deliberate plan.
Annual dry docking?
Annual dry dockings. Every year, each vessel should be dry docked to look at the underside fittings and the amperages and so forth.
That should happen every year?
Every year. And then every 4 years, a vessel should go through a deliberate refit. If you really want to benefit from the useful life, and vessels can last up to 4 decades or 40 years.
Wow.
You have to have adequate funding for maintenance and repairs annually. You must have those annual dry dockings, and you must have those refits in terms of being proactive and being preventative as opposed to being breakdown and corrective. That's the culture we've been fighting and we're trying to correct. And so another issue is the procurement lead times. Those vessels were made in Europe, in the Netherlands, and the procurement lead time is just protracted. And so when you need an essential part of equipment, and you get the quote, and it tells you, in some cases, 26 weeks or up to 4 months.
Wow.
And so those are some of the challenges, but I must give credit to the maintenance teams, the engineers. They have done a yeoman's job to continue to keep more than 60% of our fleet operational, to continue in the execution of our strategy. And that is why we continue to enjoy the success that we have. But it's no easy task, maintaining ships, keeping them operational, keeping the crews on board focused on the task at hand.
You said 60% keeping it operational. Yeah. So that means we have another 40% that's not able to be used.
When you look at vessels, you have to make a determination in terms whether a defect is an operational defect or is a defect that you can live with and you can manage with.
Right.
You have some defects which requires parts and spares to be procured, which takes some time. And so you lose out on the operational availability because you have to wait, like I mentioned, the protracted lead time in getting these parts and spares. And then when you couple that with the procurement process, having to go through in the portal, and it has to be in the portal for an extended period, and you go through your own tender committees, and then the government public tender committees. That adds to the lead time. And so...
What is the longest you've waited for a vessel to be repaired?
Right now, we're looking at a vessel in terms of getting some shafts for the vessels, and they told us bluntly 52 weeks, which is a year.
That's a year?
That's a year. And so, but we're doing a yeoman's job.
How many vessels do you have?
26 in total.
26. For the archipelago of the Bahamas, which almost stretches the length of the 26. Caribbean.
We looking to utilize the acquisition of 4 new safe boats. 2 arrived last month, and we expect the other 2 to arrive next month.
Great.
And so that will add to our fleet. And so we're getting it done. We're persevering. We have a number of vessels that are close to becoming operational with the acquisition of these parts and spares, and then even getting into shipyards. If you have a broken vessel and you call a shipyard, you just don't just go there. You have to look at their schedule and they have to fit you in. So that takes some time. And then when you have unfortunate groundings, now those vessels are insured. The deductible amount is, in some cases, about $75,000, maybe $150,000. The insurance covers the rest. But the real drawback is how long to bring the vessel back into service.
I want to talk even closer about what we're dealing with the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. There's some questions that our viewers want us to ask, and I want to get into there. And I think the first thing people want to know, obviously, is we have officers deployed to Haiti. Give us an update on that.
We still have 6 officers deployed. Their rotation ends within the next 5 weeks. So we have to make a rotation of those 6 persons who are part of the CARICOM Joint Task Force with the command and control aspect of it. We look forward to increasing that team, the size of that team, because we want to have persons embedded in the Maritime Communication Center to support our maritime operations. We're giving us the intel that we need. Bahamas would have completed her rotation. Nassau is poised for her rotation. But we look forward this week to have productive discussions with the force commander of the mission, as well as the commander of the Haitian National Police Coast Guard unit. So we look forward to some discussions this week before we move ahead with the second deployment of the 60-meter into Haiti. The team has been relatively safe in the life support area, but the violence continues in Haiti.
Are our officers a part of addressing that violence?
Negative. They're part of the command and control element. So they're not on the ground.
Okay.
Primarily, you have the Kenyans working alongside the Haitian National Police, and Guatemala would have just sent 150 military members who I assume would be a part of that fight. But the Jamaicans, Belizeans, and us, we're part of that command and control component as it stands now. That's the authorized role that we are fulfilling by order of the National Security Council.
Are our officers, do they feel safe?
They feel relatively safe, but they're very concerned.
What is their concern?
Because just outside of that life support area is where the violence occurs. And so you're really restricted within that area.
Your movements.
Right. So life changes. You're in there, you have to be on your alert at all times. I received a report from the commander that someone within that confined was shot at from a sniper shot from the outside. And so even being in that life support area carries inherently a level of risk. I think the mission would have experienced its first fatality about 2 days ago. A Kenyan officer was shot in an operation. And you had, I think, a few Haitian National Police and members of their FAD unit, I think it was 3 of them, probably succumbed in operations today in Haiti. And so it's a real environment, the risk is real, and the need to be vigilant, alert, and everything you do. It's a serious business, being in Haiti.
We have not been used or exposed to that level of violence, thankfully, in our country. We don't have to deal with that, at least from the Defense Force aspect. So for our officers, I can imagine the level of concern because they're in a country that's been seeing a lot of violent activity. And like you said, you have people now shooting into what could traditionally be a safe zone. The fear is what could be happening tomorrow when we wake up. How long, first of all, are each stent that each team provides in Haiti? And is there any support for these officers who have to face and deal with this level of violence?
Well, the stint is the command and control team. They spend 6 months. And each vessel, the first vessel has been deployed for 6 weeks, so we have a 6-week planned rotation for the vessels themselves. That is where we stand now. Within the confines of the mission itself, they have access to those counselors, the psychiatrists, the psychologists, as a part of those teams to provide that level of support, and inherently given the environment that they're in.
How are these officers chosen for the mission?
They were selected. It was a criteria we looked at based on the years of experience, age, fitness status, medical status, and we looked at the entire criteria to make the best decisions of who we would have selected early on to be a part of the mission. And so far, it has worked out for us. Thank God.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk some more about your recruitment process. And also, we're going to get into, of course, the elephant in the room, corruption charges, and where you stand regarding that. And then we're going to talk a little bit later on about you. You're watching The Rundown. It's going to get even more intensified and interesting right after the break. Stay with us.
Bahamas Striping Group of Companies, we have been in Exuma now for the past 4 years, carrying out our paving program. A part of our company's philosophy is producing work to international standards. So when you look at our paving division, we have a state-of-the-art lab to do all of our testing in-house, as well as a state-of-the-art asphalt plant with a trained technician carrying out the work on that site. The overarching goal of our company is to produce the work that we're doing in the entire Bahamas to international standards. We also make a difference by the training of our staff. We have a very intensive training program going on to where we are teaching young men how to learn the art of striping. Being a young man myself, I've made mistakes in the past. I was given a second chance to better my life, and it's only fitting that we pass that along. What's important for us is giving them a second chance for them to get a skill and a career that could take them further in life.
This year, your best year yet. Education is the key to success, and the University of the West Indies Global Campus Bahamas is your partner in success. Take a course that increases your value in a matter of weeks, or get that degree you've been dreaming of with convenient online learning. Visit us at global.uwi.edu/Bahamas, call 323-6593, or WhatsApp 456-6687 today.
Lessons gonna find me.
Welcome back to the Rundown. It's so good to have you with us. We're talking to the Commodore of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, Dr. Raymond King, tonight about the Defense Force, everything Defense Force. And we'll talk a little bit later about his career in a few seconds. We'll continue with our discussion. I want to talk now about recruitment. Is there a need to tighten the recruitment requirements?
Our recruitment process is quite robust. From the examinations, the assessments, the interviews, the medical vettings, the security vettings. But if I want to be completely honest, my former colleague, the former commissioner, and now the current commissioner touched on a point of probably publication, those names, for the community to give their input. That is key, because what we have found, in particular with the last 4 to 5 entries, or within the last 3 years, even amongst our sister agencies in discussions with the other armed forces leads, we found that the majority of the persons who are running afoul of the law are the young persons who would have been recruited within the last 3-4 years. The majority of the persons, more than 95% of the persons who run afoul of the law are those young persons. So it tells us, despite all efforts to really have a quarantine entry of persons who would have been properly vetted, the question mark is the community's references on these persons, whether they're actually being truthful with these persons. And so we would have had to expand our vetting policy to include having them disclose their Facebook and their other accounts and going on to really see what activities. And surprisingly, you would find that these persons are involved with gangs and gang activities. Yeah. And because the young people put everything out there.
Of course.
It's just a matter of you researching it. And so I agree with that concept of publishing the persons who you intend to enlist at the end. Because you're going to find some members of the community who would be honest and say, hold on, there's something about this individual you all need to recheck. So I like that point what was made. But our process is quite robust. Our training program is really intense. But what you find is that those persons, particularly the latter ones who I'm making reference to, if they would have been exposed to gang activity, even that basic training, in some cases would have failed to transform them in their thinking. Because they enter the service, and within a year or two, they run afoul of the law, and then everything becomes clear in terms of who you would have recruited. And so in the organization, we have up to about 4 generational cohorts. And I always advise my department leads and heads, you have to tailor your leadership style, your management style. The values, beliefs, and everything differs from ours. When we joined, we looked at the Royal Bahamas Defense Force as a career.
Correct.
A lot of these persons now it's just a job.
Wow.
I'd probably want to come in for a year or two, make some money, but that's fine. The United States caters to persons who just want to come in for a few years, get a degree, and move on. countries would have benefited from that. But there is a concern in terms of the pool of persons, and these persons come from our communities.
I was about to ask you that. Is it difficult to say, find good, solid recruits the way you need to find it? Is there a challenge?
The challenge is with the men.
The men?
We have no problem with the women. In fact, we oversubscribe.
Wow.
My recollection, because I serve as the personnel officer, the human resource officer, and the administration officer, out of every 100 males that you vet and you take through that process, you end up at 1/3.
Really?
1/3, yes. And so we have to recruit and process so many males to really get the numbers. And so what you'll find is in most of the armed forces now and the other agencies, the percentage of women being enlisted is getting higher because it's easier to women as opposed to the men. You have to struggle to get the numbers that you want.
And are they failing because of not being able to continue, or they're failing in the vetting process?
It's the vetting process, the medical vettings, the security vettings is what catch a lot of them. Because if you taking drugs and those other things, it will show. And the security vetting, if you're in gang activities, you're going to be one person from the community who's going to be honest.
Wow.
And point persons out, and then persons with criminal records. That eliminates a lot of them as well.
I want to turn to the recent case, which we all knew in law enforcement, the corruption case involving a police officer, a senior ranking police officer, and also one of your then officers. We've never got an official response from you to that. What is your response to this whole idea?
Mr. Watson, I'll tell you, I was very disappointed and shocked of that person and the allegations being led. And when I read the indictment in terms of what was being promised, because our operational data is very restricted on a need-to-know basis. There's only 2 or 3 persons who have access to that information, and it's encrypted. When we work jointly with our regional partners, in particular the United States, and the Coast Guard and those other units, when we work jointly, we are not privy to where their assets are. It's not even shared. You'll only have an area of operation. So we don't have access to the information in terms of where our counterparts' vessels are. So I don't know how is it that a promise was made to provide this information. But nonetheless, corruption is something that we don't subscribe to. And I believe one of the benefits of the organization not really being branded is because we have very minimal touch points with the community and society by the nature of our work. We have very little. But our acts and regulations is very robust. The penalties are severe. For the release of confidential information, you can get 2 years, 7 years, and if it is considered to be a matter of treason, you can be sentenced to death.
You can be sentenced to death.
You can be sentenced to death. And so it's very, very strong.
That's harsher than the police force.
Yeah, yes. And that's why you'll probably find it less in the militaries because of our policies. But what we've done, in addition, and we expect full compliance to the new bill that was passed, independent Commission of Investigations. We would have worked hard with our counterpart, the United States Northern Command, to develop, through DILS in Rhode Island, to develop a regulations, ethics regulations, which deals effectively with corruption. It prescribes persons go through ethics, awareness, and training, and we have enforcement measures in that regulation. That would have been sent to the Ministry of National Security for consideration to strengthen our existing laws that we have. And I would put forward, and I would have made the recommendation that senior officers should be required to make financial disclosures, as well as persons who are involved with logistics, maintenance, and procurement processes. Certain areas should be required to make financial disclosures.
And you believe that will help strengthen integrity even more so in the force. And I was supposed to ask you what new measures are being taken this time about corrections, and you started to explain exactly what you believe should be put in place. You've been at the helm of the Royal Bahamas Police Force for the past 5 years. Are there plans for future development of the force? Have you put a framework in place to say this is where we want to go and this is what we want to do? And if so, what are some of those key areas?
The vision that I put forward for the organization members and the entity as a whole is a high performance and a professional workforce. In our relationship with the United States Northern Command, the Rhode Island National Guard, United States Coast Guard, and all of us, and other United States armed forces and auxiliaries, we have an agreement called the Bilateral Security Cooperation Framework. That is driven towards the Defense Force becoming a capability-based, designed organization. So you want to ensure that we have the necessary capabilities to accomplish our mandate and missions. You want to ensure that you have the adequate capacities of those competencies, and the organization will have the necessary agility to respond to a dynamic security environment. Those lines of efforts is really threefold. One, maritime domain awareness. We were moving strategically, and it's a 5-year plan that is updated annually, and so it's perpetual in terms of our intelligence capabilities, our communications capabilities, and our cybersecurity capabilities under maritime domain control. The capabilities to really work in a decentralized environment as we would have started and sustained it, as well as our search and rescue capabilities. That is a must as we move towards becoming a rescue coordination center in collaboration with our civil aviation counterparts, and to ensure that we have the necessary technology to undertake any interdiction under any weather condition. The third is institutional capacity building, which seeks to modernize our human resource practices, our logistics, maintenance, and supply capabilities, our disaster response, strengthening of our military justice system, in which a product was that ethics regulations. And those are the capabilities, in a nutshell, that we're being assisted with in moving the Defense Force towards being a capability-based, designed organization. Capabilities, capacities, and the necessary agility.
That's a whole lot. Do you believe you can achieve that?
It's being done. It has been unfolding for the last 5.5 years functionally that I would have commanded the organization. It is a perpetual plan. Annually you'll have executive meetings, you'll have synchronization workshops, and it has to be aligned with the mutual benefits of the United States government and our government. It has to be a mutually beneficial document, and plans are made in terms of the type of assistance, security cooperation assistance we get. It's training, it's equipment, it's exercises, senior leaders engagement. So there are a number of security types. There is a plan that is being unfolded, and we have functional working groups who meet monthly in the execution of that plan.
How many officers are there in the Defense Force?
We have just over 1,825 officers and Marines.
1,800?
Yeah.
Is there what you would call a comfortable number that you like to see the force get to be able to fulfill its mandate?
I would have done several human capital projections as a young officer for the command, and the number that we would have settled on is some 3,000.
3,000?
3,000. Optimal to really fulfill our mission, because as we move into those regions, the North and Southern and Central deepen, you want to duplicate HMBS Coral Harbor, and you want to run each facility as a base. It requires manpower, logistics, equipment, everything to duplicate.
So you need about 1,200 more.
Yes, and but we've had an ambitious plan. We would have recruited about 450 over the last 4 years. We're aiming to get 150 by May, June of this year. We're working towards those numbers. The attrition rate would have been would have declined. It's at 2% now. It had over at 3.5%, 3.5% a few years back. And so those numbers would have declined. But in the next few years, we're going to have some entries who are going to meet that involuntary retirement period. The age was extended from age 55 to 60. But in a few years, you're going to have persons who are going to reach that 60-year mark. Thankfully, the government agreed to a proposal that was put forward under my leadership to extend the age for the reserve component, to move that out from 60 to 65. So as persons retire from the regular service, they can give off service in the reserve component for another 5 years.
Do you believe there's a necessity to have officers stay on if they have the expertise, even if they would have either reached the years of service or the age before, when it was at 55?
Most definitely, because we realized that we would have had an experience void, and that was the reason why it was moved from 55 to 60, to prevent that experience gap.
So, and the reason why I'm bringing this up, because of course the debate was last week, oh, there's some 400 people who were brought back from retirement, and then we found out that half of those were police officers because of the very same thing. You needed experience, and these persons reached the years of service, but hadn't reached the age, and they could still contribute significantly. Defense forces in that as well.
Yes, and that's why aggressive measures and efforts were taken to move the retirement age from age 55 to 60, and to move the reserve age from 60 to 65. So you wouldn't lose all of that valuable knowledge and experience for persons exiting. But we were in the same predicament with persons who would have left at age 55. And so that was the reason why we moved the age out further.
All right, that's good, important information there to know. I wanted to ask you, what are the major challenges that you believe the Defense Force is experiencing?
I would have alluded to the three early on. It's the procurement system. It's the protracted procurement lead times and the inadequate or insufficient budget allocation. Those are the three main drivers and challenges of the organization.
And I intentionally asked you that again because I wanted to see if it would be the same.
Yes.
Because I want people to understand that he's sticking to this. This ain't just making up a wish list. This is the reality of what you face. And I asked you that question again to see if you would change your answer. And you kept it the same thing. So you understand what the issue is. All right. The powers that be who watch it. All right, good. What would you like to see? And I think that's going to be my next question. We're going to take a break, and I'm going to let you think about it, because I want to talk about you. And what do you see as a legacy that you're going to leave in the Royal Bahamas Defense Force? What is next for you? And the successes. And we're going to talk a little bit about that when we come back after the break. You're watching The Rundown. We're back after this. Stay close.
Hey, what's up, Mario?
Hey, Dale, what's going on?
Have you seen ZNS new digital platforms?
No. Let me go check it out.
Good day, Bahamas. I'm Devontae Hanna, and this is ZNS Digital,
where we cater to your news and entertainment needs. Are you a foodie? I thought so. Then look out for Digital Bites.
Shining a light on Bahamians and the good that they do, ZNS Digital is home to the sunshine room.
Keeping up with the latest trends, our original content will keep you entertained.
Yeah, that's cool.
But have you seen the new website?
No, I didn't see it. Let me go look.
We're still your most trusted source for news and information.
That's ZNS Digital?
Yeah, that's ZNS Digital, the people station in your pocket.
You've set big goals for your future, and we can help you to achieve them. Getting that degree you've always wanted, buying your first car, making it official on a truly special day, or building a home that's your own. Big or small, share your ambitions with us, and we can help make them real.
The internet isn't just for surfing. There's a sea of shoppers buying online, and you can connect with them on Tingsy. Tingsy is the SBDC's online storefront built for Bahamians. Take your business to the next level by selling to customers online, both at home and around the world. People want Bahamian things, and if you got things to sell, sell on Tingsy. Find out how you can connect with a sea of buyers by visiting tingsybahamas.com.
Here at Immigration Care Service, you can trust us, especially if you have experienced issues or problems with the U.S. immigration at the borders. We'll do our best to provide options and solutions to immigration roadblocks, so travelers can continue visiting the U.S. and residents can continue living their lives in the U.S. without worries. The best part? Our services are affordable and accessible. Take the mystery, confusion, and fear out of your immigration concerns. Contact Immigration Care Service today.
Welcome back to the Rundown and off into our final segment now with the Commodore of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, Dr. Raymond King. And this segment, I want to focus on you and your leadership and your legacy. And of course, the question always is, when is the end date? Is there an end date in sight for you as Commodore of the Defense Force? I just saw a bunch of people turn their TVs up. But tell us.
Well, January I would have observed my 38th year in the service.
38 years?
38 years. And I would have had a very good career, an exciting career, a productive year, and a rewarding one. But I know everything is seasonal. And seasons begin, and seasons end, and new chapters begin. But during my time, I would have evidently made my contribution to the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, and I'm grateful to would have ascended to this office, the highest office within the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, to make my contributions directly, not only to the Royal Bahamas Defense Force in terms of border security, but in terms of national development and community leadership.
That's the end?
That's the end.
I'm sitting waiting, because you sound like you were saying, getting the speech ready to go into, you know, I have done it my way and so forth. But you obviously have done a number of things that you would have seen done. Do you believe that you've accomplished what you set out to do?
We would have accomplished much. To be honest with you, there's still much to get done. I would have made deliberate efforts to truly transform the organization into a modern military as observed and seen with the developed countries. Because I would have duplicated a lot of the systems, the processes and everything, and the structures as those developed nations. I would have done much. And so what comes to mind for me in terms of successes, it has to do with border security. We would have done with the support of the men and women of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, with our national law enforcement agencies as well as our regional partners, international as well. We would have done a yeoman's job in terms of border security against those transnational threats that I would have alluded to earlier. Migration, poaching, and all of those. And then we look at the effective management of the organization members during the two most difficult periods in this country's history. Our response to Hurricane Dorian, the impact of Hurricane Dorian. I came in and I led the organization in our response to that. And then we had the global pandemic and all of those abnormal taskings. And so I had to navigate.
You've weathered two of the worst experiences in life that the country has seen.
Yes, sir. And I would have to navigate the organizations for that period and now. And a difficult decision is placing persons in Haiti in harm's way, per se, and having to nominate persons and to deploy persons under my leadership. That's another difficult task for this country and this organization, and it's only just begun. And so we have that as well. And then I would have done a yeoman's job in terms of the professional development of the organization as an organization and as a learning organization. I would have had the oversight of the development of 2 potential centers of excellence our drone academy known as Banners, and the current development of our Bahamas Maritime and Military Academy to not only train our members internally, but our national and regional counterparts to benefit from this training through an accredited, fully accredited military academy. And so we would have done that. We're about to commission some additional simulators, damage control, firefighting, to go ahead with our bridge master for our squadron personnel to ensure their safety in fighting and saving the ships at sea. And the urban search and rescue simulator that was developed in the event if you have any collapsed buildings, etc. So I would have expended a lot of resources in terms of the professional development through continuous training and development of our members. And one other thing that comes to mind is being able to realize the enhanced benefits for our members. We would have gotten government to approve almost $1 million in ADQUIL allowance, new allowances to bring us on par with our counterparts, the police force, and BDOX was able to come on par as well. I was able to successfully resolve an outstanding issue for our veterans and retirees, the pension and the gratuity anomalies. We would have brought some resolution to that. And I would have been grateful to been able to have 3 major promotion exercises in 5 years, the largest ever in the organization, and we're about to do our 3rd medals and award ceremony next month in 5 years. So I spent a lot of time into talent management, recognizing, rewarding persons for their efforts and their hard work, and but maintaining military discipline and good order.
What do you believe your legacy will be, or what do you hope it to be when you would have been done?
I look at it from 3 perspectives, and I want to be quick with it. One is the expert leadership and how I strategically manage encountering our transnational threats that I would have mentioned earlier successfully. The other one was how we navigated through Dorian, COVID-19, and now the taskings in Haiti. The other one has to do with the professional development of our members, right? And I would have been welfare-centric, right? And so my leadership, when we look at it in terms of proficiency, expert leadership, agile leadership, transformative leadership. If I look at it from the leadership perspective, if I look at it from the organizational campaigns, either could be seen or remembered as a nation builder and to protect of our borders, a nation builder through our deliberate youth intervention programs, and a community leader through our community relations program, or simply as a faithful steward and servant of the people.
Edna Hart, who's in the Lions Den, says, you transform the morale, welfare, and recreation aspect of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. Sir, I think it will be your greatest legacy in your leadership.
And she's on point. I spent considerable efforts in terms of our welfare institutions, establishing our Veteran Affairs Office, our Morale, Welfare and Recreation Office, our Family Support and Readiness Office to ensure that our members past and present are remembered, always included in all the decisions being made to benefit our current memberships and to provide that support, particularly for members who are deployed for extended periods. And so I would have opened up those offices and given them the authority to function, and she's right.
Any regrets?
I have no regrets. I joined the organization as a very young man. I would have met my eventual wife during my first year. Both of us, we joined in '87, and I remember when we were on board one repatriation run to Haiti. In those days, we used to carry the Haitians back. And I was on board the vessel. I would be in the hold studying. I was a young engineer. And I would tell the fellas to tell the cook, save my food. And then I realized the portions of my plate, they were favorable. And then the relationship blossomed. From there, this year, May 31st makes us 34 years.
Wow. Yes. You had a very good experience in the boat.
Yes, sir.
Can I tell you about my experience in a Defense Force boat? I was a young ZNS reporter, And we had some major oil spill up in Bimini area or something like that. And they were going up, sending a vessel up there. And they said, let's take ZNS. And so my news director said, you want to go? I said, yes. I always live for the big story. And so we went to the dock. We were going up there for 3 days and then coming right back. And I said, oh, I can't wait, excited. We boarded the Defense Force vessel, such a beautiful vessel. And I said, oh, this is going to be a great opportunity. And we left Nassau Harbor. I said, oh, this is going to be like a 3-day cruise. And then we got into the open water. And that boat began to rock. And let me tell you, I have never felt so sick in my entire life. I stayed in the little hole where the bedroom, where the bunk beds are, and I stayed underneath there, and I couldn't move for almost a day. And I just stayed there, and I could hear the officers walk past, just laughing at me. They laughed at me. I'm their guest. They laughed at me. They were laughing. I could not get out of that bunk bed because I was so seasick. And I decided, they said, Ron, you gotta get out. You gotta eat something. You gotta eat something. You gotta eat something. And so I don't know if they were messing with me, but I came out and I ate something, and boy, did I not bring up what I ate. And I kept bringing it up, and they were laughing at me. Oh my God, it was humiliating. But I fought through it to be able to do my interviews and so forth. And we got to Bimini and everything like that, and we did our interviews. And then they were like, "You coming back? We going back to Nassau?" I said, "Heck no." I took a flight from Bimini. I said, "No, thank you all." They would laugh at me, and that was my experience on the Defense Force boat. But they were kind, even though they kept laughing at me. But it was an experience I'll never forget.
But I'll be honest with you, even a seasoned seaman as I was, my first day out to sea, whenever we left, it depends on the weather condition, my body had to readjust. If the weather, we went out and the weather was extremely bad, then I would have felt seasick, and by the second day, my body would have collaborated. Even so, everyone's experience is different. And, but when I commanded the vessels that I did, I made sure, ran my patrols, where I could only remember on 5 occasions I had no choice in the weather was bad, but I always ran favorable headings, but you learn those tricks as the more you sail, in terms of moving your vessel away from or directly from the winds and the heavy seas, and you run favorable tracks to ensure the comfort of your crew. But they were right. Once you eat something and you bring that up, you feel better rather than not eating and still bring it. Right.
I will never be a seaman. Hats off to them who do it for weeks. That's why I respect everybody in their rightful places. Mine is here on land. But Commodore, thank you so much for sharing with us tonight and being a part of this. We wish you every best success, and you and your team and your officers. Thank you for the fine job you do in serving our country and the risk that you take every day. Our country, we are indeed grateful to you as a nation. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much for having me, and good evening, Bahamas.
Thank you. That does it for the Rundown. We want to remind you that tomorrow night's edition of the Rundown will be aired live from Eleuthera. I'll be on the Bahamas Air flight early in the morning to join my team who's been there for the past 2 days setting up Access Accelerator Small Business Development Center town meeting at the Rock Sound Chamber of Commerce. We'll be there tomorrow night and doing what we do there. And of course, be sure to stay tuned to the ZNS network for the Bahamas Tonight with that. And of course, to Bahamas Tonight at 11 tonight. Don't forget 11 o'clock news tonight with Royston Jones. He's in the building. Royston's in the building. Get ready for 11 o'clock news. It's the final newscast of the evening. For all of us here at ZNS, I'm Clint Watson. Thanks for joining us. I'll see you in Rock Sound tomorrow night.
This year, your best year yet. Education is the key to success, and the University of the West Indies Global Campus Bahamas is your partner in success. Take a course